to go? Okay, folks, it's about 6:31, and we will get the November meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment started.
Tonight in attendance, we have Counselor Eric Hoffman, Richard Bodie, Jane LaRoche, Chair Michael Dellavecchia, Marcia Hayward. I will be staff in attendance. I'm Tyler Carmichael, the Assistant Planner, and Grayson here will be taking our minutes.
Everybody got a chance to review the minutes of last meeting?
I did.
You
I did, yeah. I
great
make a motion.
job on that.
I make
Thank
a
you.
motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jane. Any discussion? All in favor? All righty. There's no extensions.
Nope.
Okay, first up on the agenda is 371 White Oaks Road.
And, Mr. Chair, I respectfully dismiss myself from this conversation.
Okay, then that's gonna make a bearing, then you have to make the announcement. We don't have a full board.
Right.
That's gonna be a problem.
Why are you recusing, Richard? Or?
He lives on White Oaks.
I am a neighbor and I have a personal interest.
Okay.
Personal interest counts as a recusal. Okay.
So that
Yes,
puts-
sir.
Good evening. Does that put you at 4 members, Mr. Chairman?
I just have to explain that with only 4 members, if it's a tie vote, it's a no vote.
Right, understood. We continued last time for the same reason, so if you don't mind, I'll,
Well, I was going to say, we don't have any alternates for the board at this time, so it will just be continued until,
gotcha.
So it's up to you.
Okay.
I mean-
Let me consult with the client nonetheless,
Okay.
but thank you for adding that.
No problem.
Yeah,
Take a
thank
few
you.
moments.
And also, should I get an easel?
if you would like an easel, we can get one set up for you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Let me consult with the client.
Just so everybody understands in the audience, I will explain that when somebody has to recuse themselves from a meeting like Richard just did, we would usually have an alternate that would step in his place, but we have no alternates on the board, so there's only 5 of us. So with the 4 people remaining, the way the rules are written, if it's a tie vote, it's a no vote. And I don't think we have any alternates in the pipeline.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. I knew we had a couple on the planning board coming up.
I believe there are a couple for the planning board that are going through the
Can't sway
appointments.
one over this way.
Well, we can see what we can do, but it's ultimately their choice.
Did Tim ever get in touch with Rob, or did Rob connect with Tim? I gave him information about this guy that worked.
I don't think he's heard back from him yet, but I will
know what, I need
follow
to
up with
make
Rob.
sure I have the right email.
Oh, the guy in the corner there?
Yeah,
He'd be great.
oh, he would be,
Yeah.
and he wants to. Maybe I didn't give him, Rob, the right email address. Maybe I should. I thought it was, Tim and his last name 5@gmail.com. I'm gonna have to verify that. See, our mayor is here.
Mr. Charlie? He just said he was coming tonight.
I just,
Is he hiding back there?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving us a few moments. Do you have a sense, are you working on the alternate situation?
We've been putting it in the paper, we've been putting it out in the Laconia links. I mean, we've had conversations with people that have expressed interest, just nobody has applied yet. So I can't give you a definitive time frame. I can't force the public to join, so.
Yeah, I mean, we always advise our clients that it's best to have a 5-member board. And, at this point, it probably makes sense to continue at least another month. And at that point, if you don't have an alternate, we'll make the decision again.
Certainly.
If that works for the board,
You're,
we'd like to do that.
you're very privileged to extend it for a month. No,
Yeah.
no problem with
Okay.
us.
Awesome. So
we
then,
will do that.
perfect.
I
So-
will mention, Tyler, while I'm here.
Yes.
That there is a letter of support from an abutter that it's just an administrative matter, I don't.
Certainly.
in-
Nope, I got you.
Yeah, let me get those copies to you anyway. And
Perfect.
we'll continue for another month. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm also in a butter, so will I be informed of the next hearing date?
For continued meetings, state law does not allow us to renotice it if it's continued. If an application is withdrawn and then resubmitted, you would then be noticed again.
Okay, so I have to watch the website.
Correct. But we do meet on the third Monday of every month, and I can tell you exactly what that date and time's gonna be, so you guys can write that down here. Give me 1 second. So the next zoning board meeting to which they will be attending will be December 15th. That'll be 6:30 PM.
All right, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
So 321 White Oaks is going to,
Yes, so that is,
We have to get a motion to extend.
motion to continue to the following month.
okay. I make a motion to extend the application for 321 White Oaks Road.
Thank you.
371.
I'm sorry, it's my,
No, you're
put
good.
my glasses on. 371 White Oaks Road for the month of December.
And can I just clarify, that's for ZB 2026-016 for the variance and ZB
Correct.
2026-017 for the special exception.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jane. All in favor? Richard, you come back.
The same conditions exist for the next application.
Oh,
It's
good.
true. Oh, but let's see, White Oaks Road, 238 withdrew.
Yes, that is correct. So
So that one's
ZB 2026-018 for 238 White Oaks Road, that applicant has withdrawn their application. So if they decided to ever come back before this board, everybody else would be, the abutters would be re-notified. So,
Okay.
but they have withdrawn at this
All
time.
right.
So
We're
that
go-
brings
going
us
right
up-
down the list.
Going
here.
right down the list.
brings us to
Next
Road.
up is 358 Roller Coaster Road. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Come on up, please, and tell us what you'd like to do.
And Richard is rejoining the board for the minutes, just so you're aware.
We missed you. Did you see Mr. Ford in the back there? I think that's
They withdrew?
Tyler,
Yes.
do you know, or Eric, do you have to recuse yourself because it's D and K?
It's possible.
Is it?
Kind of, we were just hired to like consult at this meeting, but I will be presenting.
I probably should.
So then,
You have 4 members on the board.
oh, because one of them had to recuse for that one.
Correct.
Okay, we're still good. I was worried that it was gonna go down to 3 and we would
So
be in
you're
a,
recusing yourself?
I am
Yep,
recused.
you'll still have 4, so if you're good with that, we can proceed.
sorry, Eric. Okay. You're good with a short board? Okay. I heard that the board got a little high-tech, so we have prepared a presentation for tonight. So I apologize for the delay. I'm a little bit old school, so I do have a board.
Oh, that's good. We are too. Look at that. She's prepared.
My TV,
I'll let you know, they zoom in on it. And so you still have them to show them. Do you zoom in on it?
We can. I'm gonna try to
We'll
put
see.
it on the screen here real quick. They used Zoom before, and it's a whole thing for this. So give me 1 second.
Okay.
Also use microphones, please.
Oh, it is upside down. You're
We
right.
can turn the volume up a little bit here. Perfect. Did it change up there?
Those aren't on.
Those aren't on? Oh, okay. We're gonna turn them on for you. They must have come off from the last meeting.
All right, and I heard them say, let's use the microphone, because, also in the recordings and stuff, it's better.
There we go.
There we go. All right, you ready for us?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for having us here tonight. My name is Sarah Wardy. I'm with Du Bois and King.
My name's Leary Chase.
And we're here tonight to talk about 358 Roller Coaster Road in Laconia, New Hampshire. We are here tonight to request a special exception for the use of campground. To talk a little bit about the property, it is located on Roller Coaster Road. It's a little over 40 acres with over 800 feet of frontage on Roller Coaster Road. It is in the rural residential zone. The current use is a single-family dwelling, and the proposed use is a campground. The current site is served by an on-site well and on-site individual septic system, but there is municipal sewer along Roller Coaster Road. Along the frontage of the property, there are 3 sewer manholes along the frontage. It's an 8-inch sewer main that was constructed around 2006. The existing single-family residence is set back from the road quite a bit. As you can see from these pictures, from the road you can't see the house, from the house you can't see the road. So it does offer a little bit of, privacy. It doesn't crowd the road. The proposed use plans to utilize this house as, say, the office and store. So the campground would be beyond this house. So you would not be able to see the campground from the road. So I'm gonna walk through the criteria a little bit, and through that tell you a little bit more about the project. So the first criteria, the use requested is specifically authorized in this chapter. It is in the table of permitted uses that campground is allowed by special exception. The second criteria, the requested use will not create undue traffic congestion or unduly impair pedestrian safety.
Is that up for discussion?
I would ask that the audience please remain quiet until your opportunity comes to speak. You will have an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Tyler.
So Roller Coaster Road, there's no sidewalks. It's not likely that there is frequent pedestrian activity. There's not a lot of shoulder, and it really is a cross street between Parade Road and Route 3, where there aren't sidewalks. Parade Road and Route 3 have annual average daily traffic of 7,000 cars. There's a lot of traffic on either side of Roller Coaster Road. The proposed use plans to be seasonal, so there wouldn't be winter use, which would limit the traffic in the fall when kids are going back to school, when there's going to be school buses, and then through the winter when some tourist activity comes up for skiing and winter uses. Additionally, as I mentioned, the entrance, the existing driveway and the existing house are set back from the road. With that being the start of the proposed campground, it's set back from the road, so you won't have queuing along Roller Coaster Road, and the entrance to the campground is going to be designed so that all the maneuvering happens in the interior of the site. First of all, you won't really be able to see it, but second of all, it's not going to impact, there's not going to be backing out of trailers onto Roller Coaster Road. The maneuvering will be in the interior of the site. So we've shown here a picture looking down Roller Coaster Road where you can see there really isn't a shoulder, there's no sidewalk, it's not a great area for walking. And then the traffic counts from 2024. Criteria 3, the requested use will not overload any public water, drainage, or sewer system, or any other municipal system, nor will there be any significant increase in stormwater runoff onto adjacent properties or streets. So the Water, the current house is served by an on-site well, and the municipal water is quite a distance away. It's a little over 3/4 of a mile down the road. So the campground would be served by on-site water. So that won't put a strain on the municipal water system. For wastewater, we have a few options. Obviously, the preferred would be to connect to the 8-inch municipal sewer, and we would work with DPW through the planning process to make sure. We would have to provide calculations and work with Nate to make sure that there is capacity in the city system to support the campground. If not, the campground was previously proposed before the city, and 3 individual septic systems were approved on the site by the state. So even though those designs and those approvals have expired, that just kind of shows that the soils can support on-site septic. The current house is served by on-site septic. So in the event there wasn't the capacity within the city system, on-site septic is an option available to us. And then drainage. We plan to utilize the existing entrance for the entrance to the campground. There's already a culvert under the driveway. There's roadside swales that have been established. With that not changing, we wouldn't expect to see any additional runoff, particularly to the road. With the majority of the campground being designed beyond the home, we're planning to utilize the existing road network that is there. There's pretty substantial logging roads that have been created. So upgrading those to traversable campground roads, level of improvement to be determined with DPW during the planning process. We would hope to minimize the impacts and minimize the land disturbance for this development. Additionally, depending on the level of disturbance, AOT permitting may be required. We know that site plan permitting will be required, and there's a level of care that has to be done with drainage design in not increasing flows off-site, just as part of the planning board process. So we would ensure that that criteria is met. Here are some pictures of the existing driveway, one looking into the interior of the site and one looking out onto Roller Coaster Road. And here are some pictures of the existing road network that is already present on the site. And we have brought a plan. Most of the road network, the main trunk line, and then east, is pretty well established.
Could you try to turn that
Yes.
so we could see it better? Thank you.
The really southwestern portion of the road is where the majority of the work would need to take place, and it's gotten a little bit overgrown. Alright. So. Number 4. The requested use will not create excessive demand for municipal police, fire protection, schools, or solid waste disposal services. So police and fire, we're gonna make sure that when it's designed that it has adequate roads, that police and fire can maneuver around the site, that they can turn around if necessary. It has a looping configuration, which is preferred, so we don't have to do gigantic turnarounds. Schools, we plan on this being a seasonal campground, no permanent residents, so it should not have an impact on schools. Whereas, a 40-acre residential lot could be developed into a 20-home subdivision, and that would place some strain on the schools, but the campground should not. Waste disposal, as with most private sites, it will have a dumpster or dumpsters and private waste removal, so that will not put a strain on the city's resources. All right. 5, any special provisions for the use as set forth in this chapter are fulfilled. There were no special provisions for campground use. The requested use will not create hazards to the health, safety, or general welfare of the public, not be detrimental to the use of or out of character with the adjacent neighborhood. So I kind of thought of this as each one of those. I want to address each of those criteria. So when I think of health of the community, we want to make sure that there are adequate bathroom and solid waste disposal facilities. We want to make sure that our wastewater is responsibly taken care of. So we have options for that with municipal sewer or on-site septic, with municipal sewer being the preferred, because a failed septic system can cause effluent, which can leach into the adjacent wetlands or the river corridor that's adjacent to this. So connecting to the municipal sewer would offer protection for both environmental hazards and public health. Safety, we're gonna provide adequate access for emergency services. General welfare, utilizing the existing road network provides a vegetated buffer from adjacent abutting parcels. And using the existing entrance, the campground is not gonna be visible from the roadway. So when you're driving there, when you're in the area, it's not like there's a neon sign. It's not going to change what it looks like from the road. There's even a sign that is already up for Roller Coaster Road Campground. It's just been covered and kind of overgrown. And then I know this is probably the reason most people are here, is the character of the adjacent neighborhood. I know this is an important piece. Within a mile, there are multiple existing mobile home parks and campgrounds, including a 100-lot RV park that is currently under construction. So we've kind of just tried to highlight that in this area, there are many campgrounds. This is not necessarily out of character for the neighborhood, but we do recognize that on this road, most of the lots are either undeveloped or single-family homes. Some of those single-family homes are second homes that are used for, vacationing. There's also a 41-unit condo development on Roller Coaster Road that has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. I also wanted to just kind of mention the definition of the zoning district, rural residential 1. It's residential uses in what is commonly recognized as being a rural environment, generally will not have sewer and water facilities available. It has municipal sewer right in the road available to this site. And because we plan to utilize the existing entrance, existing driveway, and construct the campground beyond the existing house, which we have shown you can't see from the road, we do not believe that this will affect the rural environment. All right, the proposed location is appropriate for the requested use. This is over 40 acres. It has over 800 feet of frontage. We are not trying to shove a campground onto a postage stamp. This is a large parcel. Less than 1 mile from multiple other campgrounds within the city of Laconia. It's between 2 major commuter routes, and it is located off a Class 5 paved municipal street. So we're also not trying to put a campground off of a back dirt road. And finally, the requested use is consistent with the spirit and intent of this chapter and the master plan. So we are trying to utilize a low impact design by utilizing what is already on the site, placing the roads where roads already exist, placing the driveway where a driveway already exists, utilizing the house instead of building a new office. By doing this, we are also trying to minimize impacts to adjacent natural resources. We do know that there are wetlands on the site. We are adjacent to the parcel with the river corridor, stream corridor. But this project is going to aim to strengthen Laconia's reputation as a destination for nature-based tourism. I mean, I have fond memories of going camping when I was younger. The idea of a rural set tucked in the backwoods, quiet campground is idealistic. And it's compatible with the city's vision of balancing growth, environmental protection, and community vitality. And then in closing, we just wanted to share, for whatever it's worth, this plan did go before the city a little bit ago. It was approved by the planning board in 1991 and signed in 1992. I don't know why it took almost a year for them to sign it, but I know we do know that the regulations have changed. This has not been designed. This is not our design, though this is representative of what we're going to try to do. It will go through the planning board site planning process. And that's what I've got.
Very good, Sarah. Does the board have any questions for her?
I do. Talk about 40 acres, but nowhere in the application do I know how many sites you're planning on this 40 acres. Thank you.
So we have not designed the project. The use is, you're not required to come with a designed plan. We have the 1991 design here for a representation of what he's trying to do, and that design had 85 sites.
Well, how can I make a decision whether it's going to impact water or sewer or anything if I don't know how many sites?
So we would be proposing the existing plan. We do have to make some changes to it, but down the bottom of this existing plan, there's all square footages on the sites that are here. The smallest site is 1,700 square feet, so all the sites are quite large. They go upwards to 3,500 square feet. So they're all numbered on this plan, 1 through 85. And then in this center area, this clearing, we're proposing 12 cabins, 6 on the left, 6 on the right. And then the existing house up front, and it's all drawn on here with the parking. There's a bathhouse, there's a pool. So everything that's on here, we're gonna pretty much redraw on the new plan. So this is what we wanna do.
Okay, so now
We just haven't had Du Bois overlay this one and redraw it.
85 plus 12.
plus 12.
Yeah.
So now let's think about, you got 85 sites, 12 cabins. How much water is used? And it's going to have to be a well.
Yep.
So what is the well capacity that you're
There's
going
a
to have
well
to have?
on site, and it was approved by the state. I guess there's a formula they use. It's like 15 gallons per minute, and it was approved because of its clarity. So that well is up in the front where the existing house is. Up back, there would be probably a well house, which would probably have a 2,500 gallon tank. The water from the well up front would be pumped into that, and it would gravity feed down into the sites, giving you enough pressure. And then at the end of the season, that tank would probably be drained or shut down, and then the well and the place would be blown out and shut off for the season.
And so there is enough water in that well that you currently have that can service all of these sites?
With a reserve tank in the back. That's what the original owner proposed back when he had it tested and checked and approved by the state. That was the original proposal. It seems kind of prehistoric, but it works very well.
Let's talk about sewer. You said that you have 3 septic systems that were approved, what, back in 19?
Correct.
No, okay. And so those 3 septic systems would be enough to accommodate
This plan.
that plan?
Yeah, and there's currently 2 sewer stubs onto the property. So when they put the sewer in, they actually stubbed 2 different points. I believe one's down on this side and one's kind of near the driveway area.
And do you have any idea of what the cost would be to connect in with the city's sewer system?
We haven't gotten to that.
And you mentioned that there is a 100 RV park. Where is that you're referring to?
Just past the light at Roller Coaster Road, just headed up the hill on the left-hand side.
Okay, so it's on the main drag, it's not
Correct.
on
Not
one
on
of the
Roller Coaster.
extensions, it's on the main drag.
Yep.
Is that a different zone?
That is a different zone, that is the commercial resort.
Okay. All right. And the 41 condos that you refer to, they are on Roller Coaster Road?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And do those 41 condos, are they hooked into city sewer
I believe so. And water as well.
and water, and
Correct.
city water?
I think they are, because the water is about 3,000 feet from us, which puts it in about the point where those condos are.
Yeah, I do believe those
Yes, they
condos
are.
put in city water, yeah.
That's Beaver Brook you're referring to.
Yes,
correct?
yeah.
Okay. Those are my questions, I'm sorry to,
That's okay,
No.
I have a question.
Very good questions. Go ahead, Jane.
You have 40 acres and 85 sites. Are you gonna have just one bathhouse? I mean, there's a lot of people gonna wanna take showers and use the facilities, and so how many bathhouses do you
Yeah.
plan on
So,
having throughout the facility?
When I did my conceptual with the planning board, what they kind of requested that I do is they would like to see more seasonal sites in there. Everybody that has a unit there typically has a bathroom and a shower. They're all gonna have sewer, water, and electric. So most of the people that are there are gonna use their own facilities. We have a pretty good-sized bathhouse there. But again, more seasonals, less traffic, and that's kind of the way they wanted me to go, which is fine. I had no problem with that, and they'll use their own facilities.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, it was a new term for me. Seasonal, meaning it parks there and lives there and stays there. So you have less in and out traffic. It stays there and then it gets winterized for the winter. And the campground will be seasonal where it is not used in the winter.
Yep. All the services shut off and close the gate, blow out the lines.
And when you are open, are you gonna have like management on 24/7?
Yeah, yep. There'll be housing in the,
In the house?
yep. And maybe another building in the back too, perhaps, when we draw the maintenance building.
have you had any discussions with the fire department or the police department? And I'm not concerned about developing it so that there is access for a fire truck or an ambulance or a police, but I'm talking about the need for policemen to come because there are complaints and disruptions and everything, and you have police there responding. So therefore, we need an increased number of police in our departments because we got increased numbers of problems they have to deal with. Have you had any discussion with them?
I have not, but I'm gonna be running this campground myself. Not that that means much, but it's gonna be a family campground, and it's gonna be very neat and clean. I'm gonna have a lot of restrictions. There's not gonna be any garbage around the units, and it's gonna be a family campground with a playground, kid-oriented. It's not gonna be a biker bar, for lack of a better word. It's my retirement. My wife and myself are gonna be running it with our grandkids and our kids, and it's my retirement.
Richard? Any questions? Very good. I think we're gonna have some public comments. I'll ask you to have a seat right now. Good presentation, thank you.
Thank you.
So, at 7:05, I'll open public comments. I'm gonna ask everybody that would like, 'cause we have a big crowd here. There's no need to repeat what somebody else has said. I'm gonna have to limit to 3 or 4 minutes, everybody, please, okay? Young man, young lady?
Hi, how are you? My name is Sharon Spanos. I live on Parade Road, and this proposed site is directly in my backyard. I think there's quite a few reasons why our family and maybe some of the other residents right in the area may be opposed to this. The accident and safety history. Roller Coaster Road already has a record serious motorcycle and vehicle, and adding RVs would definitely worsen this. I spoke to Chief Canfield, and I don't know if people realize this, they applied for a grant for Laconia PD to have a police officer trap on Roller Coaster Road. As a lot of people see, there's always a cop on Parade Road, on Roller Coaster Road. That's a grant to keep someone on there for speeding, for DWI, for accidents, multiple accidents.
Excuse me, Sharon, can you just point to where your property is on the map there, please?
Oh, gosh, that's really small. Can I describe to you?
Well, it's
I-
Roller
I can
Coaster
see.
Road right there,
I don't
and
know
it's,
where this is.
travels east and west.
You're in a butter just on the property just below. You're-
I can do that for you, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
This will be from here, all the way up here to the west, right? So it comes down here, goes all the way in, this is east.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to
Yeah,
explain on
so
here.
you'll be above it here, you'll be above
So
it,
if-
looking down onto it.
Thank you, Mr. Foot.
Sorry. If you, do you want me to describe to you where it is? That might help you for a visual?
Well, I'm curious
Okay.
as to how far the campers will be from your house.
So if you're, you understand the location of the campground?
Yes.
If you're coming to the end of Roller Coaster Road and you take a right, you go to Meredith. If you take a left, you go towards Laconia. That first house is kind of tucked in. I'm the second house, the large white house. And then our land in our backyard goes directly to where they're going to put the campground. Which goes to my, one of my other thoughts is the, I want to stay on my thing here, the lighting. The lighting, our house is just elevated a little bit higher than where this campground would be. So we will see constant light all summer long. And when they did say that this would be seasonal and it wouldn't impact school buses, does that mean they're gonna close, on Labor Day weekend? Possibly. This is spot zoning and a precedent risk. Single parcel rezoning undermines the rural planning intent and sets a precedent for a sprawl. I'm concerned that other properties might also, if you say yes to this, there might be other properties on Roller Coaster Road that also want to do this. And how many campgrounds can you have? The Greenlands, the wildlife and the hunting and the trespassing that we would undergo. Fire, emergency, and safety. RVs add propane, fire risk, campground fires. Traffic access adds hundreds of seasonal trips. RVs are difficult to maneuver on steep curved road. Increased congestion. The noise, the odor, and the night activity. Generators, late night activity, waste, odor harm, abutter quality of life. That's me, I'm the abutter, quality of life. Water, septic, and wells. The high septic output threatens the groundwater, shared aquifers with all the abutters. The scenic and character impact. The loss of visual abutter and forest canopy diminishes the neighborhood's identity. The infrastructure and the city burden. I think someone mentioned about the extra police activity. There's not enough police on the force right now to maintain Roller Coaster Road with the accidents and the DWIs that they actually had to apply for a grant to have a special police officer there. It's the low tax benefit versus the maintenance burden. Trespassing and turnarounds. If you come to the end of Roller Coaster Road and you take a left going towards Laconia, you'll see a lot of us right here have orange cones in our driveways because people are constantly trying to turn around in our driveways. And I'm concerned with trespassing coming through those woods from campground, people that are staying there. If there's someone hunting, our kids are in the woods right behind our house and dogs, and we're there quite a bit. I'm concerned with someone getting lost and ending up in our property. There's also frequent unauthorized access by curious drivers. Campers will lead to property trespassing, illegal turnarounds, safety concerns for residents, private driveways. I'm also concerned with the criminal mischief, the vandalism. And I respectfully ask, this board, I appreciate what you do, and we respectfully ask that you deny this special exception. And it's not only is it going to decrease the value of our property, but the properties around it. Not many people want to live in a property where there's a campground right next to it. They mentioned that there's other campgrounds, that's at the other end where Tamarack is. And that's not as rural and residential as we are. But again, I respectfully ask that we can keep the peace and tranquility of our yard and our neighbors.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, I
Erin.
appreciate it. And thanks again.
Great job, Sharon.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Dawn Brackrog. I live at 410 Roller Coaster Road. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold, so excuse the frogginess here. I want to kind of piggyback on what Sharon was saying here earlier. There is definitely going to be an increase in traffic if this campground goes forward. Right now, they do have that Winnebago at the lake. It's an RV condo resort with 11.2 acres. And that's the same thing that they're talking about putting in here with the seasonal RVs that are parked there permanently. So with that going in there, and again, it's at the end of Roller Coaster Road on the Endicott side, Daniel Webster Highway, going left up toward Meredith. That is in Laconia proper, by the way. Just want to make sure that's clear. Additional to that is Stonewall Corners, which is going to be a condo complex that's going in right next to High Octane Saloon. So we're going to have huge increase in traffic because of those two facilities going in. And as was mentioned, you know, Roller Coaster Road is a major thoroughfare, especially during Bike Week. On the far end, on the Daniel Webster Route 3 side, there is a traffic device signal. On our end, there's a stop sign. Our end of the road, Parade Road, it curves either direction, and it goes uphill either direction. So it's very, very difficult to see when you're pulling out either right or left from Roller Coaster Road. And then Bike Week, we're 3 lots in from the corner, so we're about a quarter of a mile from the stop sign. And it is not uncommon for traffic to be backed up on Bike Week past our driveway. So that's beyond a quarter of a mile past that stop sign. So I cannot, in any kind of good conscience, believe that having a campground is going to not have an impact on the traffic. And he says seasonal, great, but we live there year round. Everybody I know on our street, whether it's Sam and Sonia, whether it's Jean, whether it's Jamie, we are year-round residents. We live there year-round. This is going to have an impact on us, yeah, maybe more so in the summer, but we live there year-round. This is our home. We bought this home with the idea of having a little bit of acreage, having some peace and quiet, having the wildlife. We are not direct abutters to this property. However, from our backyard, we can see the lights from their house as it stands right now. I can only imagine how bad that's going to be impacted in the summertime when the lights are on, the generators are going, people are hooping and hollering out there, playing pickleball, whatever else they want to play. As it is now, we can hear the concerts over at High Octane Saloon in the summertime. It's obnoxious. Fireworks, obnoxious. So this will have a definite detrimental impact on our lifestyle and the whole reason that we bought this property. And also resale value. You know, we're not going to live there forever because, you know, I'm in my 50s. So we're planning on retiring someday and possibly moving away, something a little bit smaller, something a little bit easier for us to manage. How is that going to impact our resale value? Additionally, it was brought up that the condos, the, what is it, Beaver Brook or whatever it's called, that they're on Roller Coaster Road. Yes, they are. However, if you look at the map, as I did, the edge of the property for the condos is in the commercial resort area that abuts Daniel Webster Highway. Mm-hmm. The rest of Roller Coaster Road is RR1. It is meant to be residential, not a campground. I have no problem with the addition of a campground, just not on our road, not on our residential road, where we're already dealing with a huge amount of traffic, particularly during summertime, when there's all these other folks out there. And then, as was also mentioned, there's a very deadly, dangerous curve there. We were sitting out there a few years ago, and we hear screech, bang, boom. Next thing we know, the road is silent because somebody had died on that road at that curve. I can only imagine how much worse it will be if there's an increase in traffic. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Yes? Yes, please, come up.
Hello,
How do you do, man?
I live at 435 Roller Coaster Road.
Your name?
Some of you know my next door neighbor fairly well. I'll just leave it at that. I want,
What was your name, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Cheryl Bonner.
Cheryl Bonner, thank you.
I want to also speak on the issue of the traffic. I have to tell you, there is many times in the summer I cannot get out of my driveway because the traffic is backed up. And I live on the end that does not have the stoplight. The other issue is there is, again, the road goes right up to the edge. There's no, what do they call it, alongside the road?
Like a berm or an easement of some kind?
Yeah, well, no, it's just, there's no, you're on the road or you're in the bushes. And, what?
No sidewalks.
Yeah, no sidewalks, nothing. And you can't expand on the road because many of the homes have stone walls that are the boundaries for their property that parallel the road because the road was originally a farm road. That's why it's narrow. And to expand on it means we'll lose our stone walls, our trees, and everything else that were so important to us that bought the property there. I have to tell you, I cannot imagine a great, huge, long fifth-wheeler coming down that road and making those curves, or even making the corner to make the turn onto Roller Coaster Road. It's just not designed for traffic that size. We put up with it during motorcycle week because it's 14 days now. It used to be 7. But it's of short duration. This is not going to be of a short duration. It's going to be a long season. I laughed when she was talking about the wonderful woodsies and how wonderful it is. Wait till she starts hearing High Octane getting cranked up in the summertime. Somehow it's not going to be quite so quiet and woodsy and very scenic. It's going to be loud because I'm on the other end of the road and I can listen to their music without a great deal of difficulty. It's just a bad choice on a road that just is not in a position to carry that kind of traffic. The accident where there was a fatality was to the left-hand side of my property. The young man hit a tree. Well, the trees are there. And, no one does the 35 mile an hour. I don't care how many cops are there, they don't stop them. It's not working. And this is going to make it not work even worse.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Bonner.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hello.
My name is Sonia Staples. I'm on 422 Roller Coaster Road. I'm just going to piggyback on a few other things. There is a driveway directly across on the 106 side of the stop sign at the end of Roller Coaster Road. We can't put a traffic light there because that poor person has a driveway right across the street. How are we going to control any of this? How do you keep anyone from crashing? We already have a hard time making a left-hand turn. We have a hard time making a right-hand turn. We have a hard time turning onto our road. I don't understand how anyone thinks that this is a good idea, how it keeps the value of our home, how it keeps the peace, how it keeps us from being able to sleep at night because of those bright lights, how my animals cannot even get any peace because of the traffic we already deal with. Every single time we have Bike Week, they sit at that stop sign 10, 20 minutes doing burnouts after burnout after burnout. And then when you think it's all flippin' done, an hour or an hour and a half goes by and there's another charge of them. And he thinks he's gonna keep drunks from his campground? Are you kidding me? Every single person that comes down that road is drunk. Every single one. When I worked at O-Pee-Chee Spa, I worked for Melissa Grayton, whose husband is the chief of police. I offered the end of my driveway for those cops to sit there and get this under control. They couldn't. They're not allowed. So you tell me how you're gonna control it. You tell me how you're gonna keep the value of our home, how the animals that I have are gonna keep their peace, how they already hear the bar, they already hear the fireworks. I could stand on my roof and see the fireworks from the weirs, in fact, and I'm on the 106 end.
I'm sorry, I missed your address on your.
422.
422.
I also have over 100 chickens that we enjoy free ranging. How do I know that these city people aren't gonna come up and they're gonna start torturing my chickens? Because I don't know if you've met city people, they don't have manners. Half their kids don't have manners. I won't even be paid to go down to Weir's Beach anymore because it's overtaken by city people and their rude kids and their parents who don't make them mind. We are New Hampshire. We raise kids, we make mind. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sonia. Good comments. Would anybody else like to speak about this proposed campground? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Peter Spanos. I live at 3125 Parade Road, and I have multiple concerns here. I have environmental concerns. There are significant wetlands in and around that neighborhood that could potentially be imperiled by this impact. I believe the number is 85 campsites proposed.
Plus 12.
Yeah. So we're talking, okay, so it's over 100.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I have fire safety concerns. The last 4 summers, we've been in moderate to severe drought. Campgrounds engender campfires. Obviously, we have, as neighbors and myself, trespassing concerns. People who frequent campgrounds like to wander. They like to hike. We happen to be abutters. I have ambient lighting concerns, as has been stated. I have noise concerns. I got my license 50 years ago, and I was born in Laconia. My first accident was on that curve. I was exonerated by Chief Cheney at the time. It wasn't my fault. Somebody swerved into my lane. But since then, in a very pejorative way, that curve that precedes this, this projected location is referred to as Dead Man's Curve. It's a very, very dangerous curve. Here in Laconia, we know we need workforce housing, moderate to upper level housing. And I generally support proposals that engender growth and adding to the tax rolls of Laconia. This proposal does not satisfy either request. I think it's bad for the neighborhood. I think it's bad for Laconia, and I think it's a very bad idea. And I'm in total opposition to it.
Thank you for your comments, Peter. Yes, sir.
I'm Sam Matthews. I live with Sonia at 422 Roller Coaster Road. I've been driving big trucks for quite a while, and we actually have a 35-foot camper still sitting at the end of our driveway that we lived in for 5 summers and rented a house through winters. And I've moved that camper through several different campgrounds, and I can tell you it's the most challenging thing is to navigate something 35 feet long. And my truck I was using that time was just a regular cab 8-foot bed. Most guys now are running extended cab, long trucks, and you can have campers that are 40 feet long. And as far as pulling in and out of this place, they will be using the property on the other side of the road as they're turning access to pull out of there when they leave to go left. When they go right, they can't just pull out and turn right and stay in the lane. They're gonna bury all of their tires in the culvert on the way out, and if not, tip their camper right back into the campground. They're gonna pull all the way out and use the neighbor's abutting property. There's gonna be all these wheel marks, and you've got your giant RVs that have the diesel pusher engines in the back of them. These things do not turn at all, and all it's gonna do is create a very dangerous situation on the road and also ruin somebody's driveway pavement that they have. They have a very nice setup there, if not damage the white fencing that they have. Most campers are new to it. If somebody's actually leaving it there seasonally, that's one thing, but they've got to get it there, and when they decide to leave with it, they're going to be leaving with it. Like Don says, people drive by the end of my driveway, they go by full throttle. They slam on their brakes to make that corner, and then they gun it right by this campground entrance, and then they slam on their brakes to make the last corner that the guardrail's been destroyed 4 times this summer from people trying to do this. This happens every night. If you guys want to come over for dinner, I'll let you sit there for 2 hours, and it's the same people that do this all the time with their crackle, bang, fart exhausts, the Harley Davidson baggers with no exhaust on them. It's the same crew that does it, and they do it all the time. They're all on a different schedule, and the road is very unsafe. Because most people ask me where I live, and I tell them Roller Coaster Road, and they're like, "You mean Racetrack Road?" I'm like, no, it's not Racetrack Road. I don't know how to do it, it's off subject, but I would love to actually get the name of the road changed to something that's not about speed, uphill, downhill, just something that means something. The guy that kind of founded Meredith and Laconia, Robertson Jr., who's in my cemetery on the property, somebody that was in the cavalry in the Civil War, it'd be nice to call it Robertson Way. It'd be harmless. It'd be absolutely harmless. And so many kids that have their parents take them for a ride down that road. "Why are you going so fast, Dad?" "Oh, we're on Robertson Way." Not, "Oh, we're on Roller Coaster Road." So it makes the kid think it's all right. I've been going to Bike Week since I was 12 years old, and I'm 48. And I can tell you right now, Bike Week is all about Roller Coaster Road. And the fact that Bike Week might only be 14 days, these guys that ride their motorcycles, that is normally their place of destination on their cruise, is to go down Roller Coaster Road. And they'll go all over New Hampshire that day. But they gotta make sure they touch that road.
Well, it is a thoroughfare, yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. I have a motorcycle. I used to have a need for speed, and I've settled down now that I'm a landowner, and I kind of appreciate what we have there. And you know, I hope that you guys can understand that. I've lived in a campground. I've made mistakes as a camper. I've had the pipe hooked up and pulled the lever and watched the hose just go everywhere. It would fill this room, and within 5 minutes, it's covered in flies. Times by 85, times 12, it's just, unless somebody's there that's qualified to do that every time they empty their stuff out, that's a gamble. Especially when they've got dual tanks in them now. They've got 2 gray water, 2 sewer water to empty. It's a lot. And as far as them saying that they didn't need a well house for people, I'd like to see everybody take a shower in the shower that comes in campers. You're in a stall. You know, a woman that has to do her hair, that wants to take a shower, if she knows that there's a shower to use, she's gonna use that than that thing, the telephone booth that comes inside the camper. I used it, and I can tell you right now, it's elbows, knees, and you're running a hose. It's not fun at all. And to each to his own. Thank you.
Very good, Sam, thank you. I believe Mr. Foote is next.
Good evening, how are we doing today? Thank you, board, for coming and overseeing this type of stuff. My name is Michael Foote. I am 222 Roller Coaster Road. I am a direct abutter to this project on 2 sides. The first part of this is, yes, you can have a special exemption, but just because someone comes and asks doesn't mean that it has to be granted. We've gone over traffic congestion here, and this on this road, at the western end on 106, the speed limit there is 50 miles an hour coming down 106. If you go over the town line into Meredith, it drops to 40. Why it isn't 40 from up at the top of the hill is quite beyond me. Some of us have been involved in accidents right there because of the speed. Water and sewer intake. When we talk about this, we do have sewer on that. The sewer in there was designed because this neighborhood is above all residential. We do not have businesses in the middle of it. Yes, we have commercial resort out at the end, but that's where the development gets made. There's still opportunity out there for other campgrounds, but all the access there is directly onto the main roads. This year we're getting something where everybody comes up for Party Central in the middle of the summer, but really here, I think that in the master plan isn't designed to destroy a neighborhood. If you had houses in there and children grew up and were able to ride their bikes on a nice little cul-de-sac, that's neighborhood, that's community. Kids go to school, they come back, they raise up. It's good. But this is definitely out of character with the neighborhood. And I encourage you to deny this special exception so that we do not ruin our neighborhood on Roller Coaster Road. I'm proud to live on Roller Coaster Road. Thank you.
All righty, it looks like,
We got one more.
oh, young lady, please come up.
It's just short. My name is Julia Staples, and I live at 422 Roller Coaster Road, and I have the same concerns as many of my peers have stated. Another concern of mine is the wildlife. We have deer, coyotes, possums, foxes, you name it. It's on our road in our backyards where all of this campground will be. And they come down, they eat our gardens and such, whatever, it's wildlife. But this campground would be taking away so much of the wildlife's place to live. And where we are, there's so many residential areas and such that already takes away from it, and all this building, condos, campgrounds, everywhere that's in the commercial region. It's already taking away from the forestation, and this would just be taking away from the wildlife more. And I don't think that's fair, both to us for all the noise it would create, and another thing is it would disturb all of the wildlife that's already there. And whereas humankind has urban sprawl and we're already taking away from the animals itself, I don't feel like it would be fair to not only impact everybody who already lives and owns places on this road, but to take away from the wildlife that also lives there. So that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Staples.
Thank you.
Seeing there's nobody else who would like to speak, I will close the public hearing.
And then I would ask for rebuttal from presenters, right?
Sarah and Larry, please. You've seen, folks, the neighborhood seems quite concerned about the increase of traffic and general change of the neighborhood with the campground there. Would you like to address those issues?
Everything that has ever been directed to the city of Laconia has always, every time I hear it, it all boils down to the 14 days of Bike Week. So if we relate any of these projects,
Excuse me.
Ma'am, please respect his time at the podium.
if we relate all of the development to the city of Laconia, and everybody stands up and says, drunk drivers, accidents, speeding, Bike Week, I have a hard time with that. I'm trying to put in a family campground. It's got plenty of acreage. It's got plenty of entrance. All the turning will take place on the property. I disagree with a lot of it. And I own a 40-foot fifth wheel, and I can drive that thing in there the way that driveway sits right now. So I'm not concerned about getting in there. All the turning and everything is gonna take place up by the office. It's off the street. People up on top of the hill, they're not gonna be able to see the campground. We don't have floodlights on when the campground's in session. We don't have, there are no generators running because every site has electricity. You're not gonna hear any generators because there will be none. So a lot of this opposition, it just doesn't mean much to me. It's untruthful. And to put a bunch of houses or low-income housing or a bunch of cluster this or that, which they allow now, would bring a lot more to the school systems, the fire department, everything. So I disagree with a lot of the opposition. I know it's a fast road. I drove up and down it 100 times when I looked at proposing this property. I stood on the edge of the road. I walked the edge of the road. You're always gonna get someone hitting a guardrail. I don't know the answer. Do they need to drop the speed limit? Perhaps. Do they need to propose a light at the end of the street? Perhaps. That's all state regulated, town regulated, police, fire. That's another whole topic that has nothing to do with a campground. So, I mean, that's all I have to say. It's kind of a retirement dream for me. If it doesn't take place here, I'm going to the next spot. I will have a campground. I would love to do it there. It's a great spot. I love Laconia. There's a lot to offer. People can go down to the beach, they can have a boat, they can go to the fun spot, they can go to the mini golf. I think it's a really great area to have a campground, and there's a lot of campgrounds right there, within a mile.
Now, let me just say, Larry, if you didn't say the campground is denied tonight, you could put a cluster development in that 40 acres.
I'm a builder, by the way.
And, you know, I don't know if the neighborhood would prefer that over a campground.
That is my question every time I go to a meeting like this.
And,
It'd be more lighting.
Agree. I always just say, just be careful what you wish for, that's all. I think it's a good proposal, and that's my thoughts.
What do you mean, there won't be ambient lighting, you know, that you don't have don't you light up the campground?
No.
Isn't there?
No, you'd have a couple of street poles in there with a regular, and over by the bathhouse, which there is a bathhouse, he's talking about no showers, there's a proposed bathhouse right on the plan.
Yeah.
Women's and men's, outside sink, all kinds of stuff. There'd be an outside light on the side of the building, just like the light on the side of your house. We don't brighten it up, you know, there's quiet hours, there's people go to bed. The lights on the campers are like this big, and they usually have a yellow bulb in them, so they don't really brighten up anything other than your entrance to the camper. So it's not a Walmart parking lot by any means. It's a very, very dim setting. We're taking out minimal trees. We're using the roads that are there. So it's not what it's being described as at all.
I'd just like to add that an approval tonight doesn't exempt this from site plan approval. So we still have to bring a design before the planning board and meet all of the city's regulations. And a development like this would require a certain vegetated buffer, so the development is going to be shielded from the abutters. And downcast lighting is still a requirement, and we could do a photometric plan to show that the light is not gonna bleed off. I also, just to kind of, you know, I'm from Guilford. I work in Laconia, but I do not drive Roller Coaster Road very often, and I also don't have a Harley. But I have a hiking trail near me, and I understand visitors can be very frustrating. What I was hearing from a lot of this is that the road has problems that are not related to the campground, and that Parade Road and the intersection with Parade Road has issues that are not related to the campground, that they exist. And there's a lot of frustration with, you know, High Octane and the other side of the road and those developments. But those behaviors and those things are not going to get better because a campground is prevented here. And they're not necessarily gonna get worse if a campground goes in here. Because we're not proposing another High Octane saloon. There can be requirements put on the campground for quiet hours. There was a comment about trespass. My familiarity with the laws of New Hampshire is that you can, as long as someone's land isn't posted, you're allowed to just go walk on it. Generally, people have some respect for people's property, but bringing the campground here isn't going to necessarily bring in more hunters. That was mentioned, particularly if it's seasonal use during the summer. But a campground is no different than if someone went on that property today, they could walk around the backyards of everyone if it's not posted. That's just like what New Hampshire intended, was people to be able to walk around freely on the land. So I just want to kind of go into those concerns aren't necessarily related to the campground, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. And then additionally, there was a lot of talk about the strain that like septic systems would put on the land and environmental concerns, which is why our first proposal what we hope to do is connect to the municipal sewer. The existing house is on septic. We would then connect that house and get rid of an existing septic system, which is located, you know, on the side closest to the wetlands. So it'd be removing that potential hazard.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any other questions from the board for? Go ahead and have a seat, folks, and we'll bring it to discussion among the board.
Would it be okay if I added one more thing?
Please do.
So again, kind of like the lighting, you know, tonight is about the use, and we typically recommend someone go to the zoning board before they do all of the design and go to the planning board, so that not a lot of resources and money are spent before you have a yes or no on the use. So this project hasn't been fully fleshed out. I mean, there is a design, a conceptual, but you know, a traffic study hasn't been done. And I just kind of, you know, request that we be given the time to provide the real information, the numbers, to show what the impacts of this project would be before it's shut down just because everyone doesn't like the traffic that's already there. There have been no real numbers on traffic that is going to be caused by the campground, and I'm not a traffic engineer, but I think everyone would be a little bit surprised to see what traffic professionals say that this development will bring to the area compared to current traffic volumes, and then even compare it to what you could develop as a subdivision and what those traffic counts could look like. I think people would be surprised. So we would really appreciate the opportunity to provide all of the information and address the concerns, which, you know, the time to submit a traffic study is typically during the planning board process. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we'll close the public hearing. Honestly, when I was going over the proposal, I thought campground would be nice up there. You know, Sarah brought up a good point. There's issues with traffic now, and the traffic is there now, and it's not because of a campground or a lack of a campground.
So I agree with you, Mike. I do like campgrounds. And I think that, you know, certainly I think the use of the property and the location of it is probably pretty good. But I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 requirements or findings of fact categories that we have. And they meet most of them. I mean, I'm also a builder. I think all of the water, drainage, light, all that stuff, that's all taken care of by the planning board, and that's not really under the purview of this board. But for me, I've been camping for a lot of years, and I could not, in good conscience, say a campground could go here because B and F for me it can't happen. Kids are going to walk out of there, they're gonna ride bikes out of there, and I agree with every statement that was made about Roller Coaster Road. Everyone. And again, I've been camping for 45 years. You know, I would let my kids go out there, and they will. They're gonna go up to Fun Spot, they're gonna find a way to make their way down to the Weirs, and no way, just no way. And so my finding of fact is that B and F are not fulfilled in this application.
I would totally agree. I think all of the stories that we hear about the traffic, the congestion, the safety with traffic is the number one thing that makes me say no to this.
Yeah, for me, I'm not so worried about the traffic. Like, it's a busy road, okay? Put something on that people can get to.
No, but that creates a safety issue.
No.
Well, like you're saying, even if kids want to go to the Weirs and whatnot.
Yeah, so I don't care about the driving. I mean, I operate trailers as well. People can get anywhere. I'm not worried about that.
I'm not concerned about them getting in and out. I'm concerned about you've got 85 campsites with 12 cabins. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of traffic. The other thing, and so I agree, I don't think they meet B, but the other thing with F is also the character. this is a residential neighborhood, and even though they talk about that there are other campgrounds, they're up in the commercial resort section. They are not in the residential section. And I do think it will impact the character of the neighborhood. So for those two reasons, I'm not in favor.
Yeah, so for me, B and F are not satisfied in this application.
Any comments,
I
Jane?
love campgrounds, and I actually don't
It's
think.
just the concern with Roller Coaster Road, but it's existing, it's an existing concern. And that's not our concern, but it is our concern in the decision that we make.
Will we make it worse if we have a campground there?
It will get busier,
Well, could they?
but that's not for us to,
Well, I think it's
Please.
something we have to consider, because
Yeah.
that's 85 plus 12. That's a lot.
What if there was, so, well, for me, what if they came back, so whatever happens with this tonight, what if they were to come back and part of their proposal is to construct not just a walkway, but a path,
An
a
access
pedestrian path, either along Roller Coaster or somewhere else?
like
To
an
be able to-
access road.
No, I'm not saying that. So would we then say, so for me, I don't really so much care about the vehicle traffic. It is what it is, it's a busy road, it's a summertime thing, see it and all that. That, to me, is not necessarily under the purview of this board. The health and safety is, and so B and F for me is a thing. But if they were to come back and say, okay, we've managed a way for bikes and walkers to be able to get to the good places of the area, would we then say that it would be okay? I'm
They could cut across Mike Foot's land over to his front spot.
Mike is shaking his head no on that one.
Well, I'm just saying, so what if the city said, okay, hey, we're gonna widen Roller, we're gonna fix that because it's a problem anyway? Anyway, I'm just I'm
And
making.
what about
it-
the residential, what about the character aspect, where it's residential and you're putting in something
I'm
that's-
just, I respectfully disagree with you. I really like camping. I've been doing it all of my life with my family. I think that it brings people into a quiet area. I like it. Yes, there are some problems with it. but-
I love camping too, and when I saw the 40 acres, I said, wow, that would really be a great place for a campground, initially. But I do hear the real safety concerns
Yep,
of
sure.
the people that live there.
I agree. It is allowed by special exception, and
Mhm.
for me, B and F are my stepping points. Mike, you?
I really was in favor of the campground. I thought it brings good business to the town.
I agree.
It exposes out-of-state people to the wonders that we have here in the Granite State. Nobody wants it in their backyard. It's just, it's always not, it's great, but not in my backyard.
We see it all the time here, for sure.
So I personally am in favor of it. I do hear the neighbors' concerns. I don't think the campground will destroy their neighborhood. I'm not sure how big of a buffer there is from the edge of the camp, where the campers would be, to the closest neighbors' houses. The aerial picture doesn't show any house even closely remote to the property. But it seems I'm being outvoted here, so we have to,
We don't know that, you haven't taken a vote.
No,
we have to get a
Somebody has to make a motion.
motion. And
make the motion, I'll second it. No, you make it.
how come Eric's not up here, by the way?
Because he is in conflict with Du Bois and King. He works for Du Bois and King, and that is who is presenting, is Du Bois and
Oh,
King. That's why he's not here.
I see. So,
Well, if you're in favor, Mike, why don't you make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve application on the zoning board 2026-021 for 358 Roller Coaster Road to accept a campground by special exception. You want me to read those facts?
No, you can say as presented.
Thank you, Jane. The finding of facts as presented by, was it Sarah Sarah, in the,
As the applicant.
as the applicant. So,
I'll second.
thank you, Jane. Further discussion amongst the board. Nobody wants it in their backyard. If I lived on Roller Coaster Road, would I be concerned if there was a campground going in? Sure, I would. But like Larry was saying, that traffic's already there. That campground is not going to sway it one way or another horribly. This is further discussion amongst the board. I just want to stress my feelings before we vote. I think low lighting, quiet time at night, the neighbors will never know that they're with all the.
That is the biggest bull.
Excuse me,
Please.
please.
That's all I'll say.
All those in favor?
All in favor of passing the campground?
Richard? You're not in favor?
Against?
Okay.
2 for, 2 against. The motion does not carry, and it fails. If the board wishes to deny the application, somebody on the board is going to have to make a motion to deny the application and present their reasons as to why.
Okay. I'll make a motion to deny application ZB 2026021, asking for a special exception for a campground. Let me go through the criteria. Number one, the special exception for a campground is authorized with the ordinance, so it does meet one. Number two, or B, letter B, the request will not create undue traffic congestion or pedestrian safety. I feel that with all of the presentations tonight by the people that live on Roller Coaster Road and their stories, they know very well what the traffic situation is on that road, and the addition of 85 campgrounds plus 12 cabins will increase the traffic on that, on Roller Coaster Road. So I don't think it meets B for the reasons that were all presented by the residents. C, the request will not overload any public water, drainage, or sewer system of the municipal system. I really don't know. It appears that they have enough septic system, either by joining with the municipal line or having the septic plan that they had from 1990, whatever, would be accommodating. I have no way to know whether that is going to be true or not. D, the request will not create excessive demand for police, fire, protection, schools, or solid waste. I believe it wouldn't with schools and probably not with solid waste, but with regards to police and fire, I am concerned, and when we heard that there were extra police were needed and they had to apply for a grant for extra police, I think there probably will be a need for extra police if a campground were to go in, because they already need extra police there now. So for D, there is a concern there, and for that reason, I would say maybe they don't meet D. E, any special provisions? I don't know of any special provisions I want to add. Is there anything that this board would like to add? Richard? Any special
I
provisions?
think it's asking if it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
meet special provisions,
doesn't.
and there are no special
There
provisions for a
aren't, okay, so
campground.
there are none. F. F, I've already talked about the safety with the increased traffic, but I also want to add that this is a residential neighborhood, and I think that a campground would alter that residential aspect of that neighborhood. And for those reasons, I say deny.
Thank you for your comments, Marcia.
Is there a second?
Well, you agree with the
Wait, we have to
motion.
vote on a denial?
I would vote on it just to make sure. And if you guys tie, then it dies on the floor as no, it has not denied or been approved by the board. But I wanted,
I'll second that motion.
perfect.
I'm confused as to why we're
So
voting
you guys
again.
tried to approve it, that motion failed. I wanted a second motion to state for the record why
We're denying.
you're denying it. If that motion fails as well, then there's not approval or denial and it dies, so. I just wanted it for the record
Right.
why you're denying it, or making a motion to deny it and not voting to approve it.
And I hope I gave sufficient findings of facts.
I think,
I took
Very
notes.
Okay,
I think you did a great job.
okay. I don't want us to be caught flat-footed on this one.
No, I think you did a great job.
Okay, so, all those in favor of denial, I guess.
I'm confused why we're voting again, but I'm able,
So Marcia made the motion, Richard seconded it,
Mm-hmm.
and then, Mr. Chair, will you call the
Three
question?
of you denied it. Approved the denial.
I approve the denial.
Oh, you're gonna approve to deny it? So we have 3 people approving the denial, 1 person still against approving the denial. So it's 3-1, the motion carries, the application is denied.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we will get that on the minutes for you guys, so. Perfect.
I don't think we did that right.
I don't understand why you approved the denial.
Well, I think after our denial,
I think, yes, after our last meeting earlier, I just wanted to make sure that we,
That's why, you know, we dotted our I
Yes.
against our Ts on that. No,
So
I,
one of the White Oaks
I
Road
think we have
withdrew and
this
another
all
one
the time
continued
moving
to next
forward.
meeting. I'm not sure which one was which.
okay, so,
Sorry, because I
Mr.
stepped out
Chair,
because
I
thought
believe we are
the
now
first
on
one was
to
mine.
Thank you for reminding me.
33 White Oaks Road.
I think we're doing this one
Oh,
right now.
thank you.
curious, Eric, how you voted on that.
I bet you are. You'll never know.
Up next is 33 White Oaks Road, seeking a variance to allow for 500 feet of distance from the district boundary, whereas 100 is allowed. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name's Ari Pollack. I'm an attorney with the Gallagher firm in Concord, New Hampshire. I'm here tonight representing Scott Bonapan, the applicant. Scott's with me this evening. Scott has placed 33 White Oaks Road under agreement with the landowner, Daniel Greenhog. He's here as well. And Daniel has signed a landowner authorization so that we could file and pursue this evening's application. I'm sure it's in your file. Scott intends to develop single-family housing on this parcel, which is an allowed use of the land. 33 White Oaks Road is uniquely large. It's a 17-acre parcel. It extends back from the road towards a large wetlands complex to the rear of the site. The parcel's large enough to be bisected and divided by 2 different zoning districts. The westerly half with frontage on White Oaks Road is zoned Commercial Resort, CR, whereas the easterly back half towards the wetlands area is zoned Rural Residential 1, RR1. Not surprisingly, the dimensional requirements to develop in both of these districts, or I should say each of these districts, is different. Minimum lot size, frontage setbacks, they have different rules for different places. And when you apply these different rules to a single piece of land, it generates confusion, a disjointed development plan, and frankly, a housing project that, because of the size of the properties that you're creating, appeals to different marketplaces in the same place. And it's a challenge to a successful project. Interestingly enough, your ordinance already recognizes this as an issue, and it has a provision to address this type of situation. That provision is 235.15.c sub 2. And what that section essentially says is that the provisions of the less restrictive district can be extended, and I think what is an arbitrary distance of 100 feet into the more restrictive district. And so in this case, the CR district is the less restrictive of the two. And the provision of the ordinance allows that district's rules to extend 100 feet beyond the currently existing zoning boundary. You might ask, why does the ordinance say 100 feet? I don't know, but what I can tell you is that even with the 100 feet, you end up with two very different looking development scenarios. I did include an exhibit in your packets. It's listed as Exhibit A. If anyone has trouble finding that, I did bring some copies. But essentially, what it turns out for Exhibit A, if you were to take the rules exactly as they exist at this moment, you would end up with 13 similarly sized single-family homes and 2 supersized single-family estate lots towards the back. It would be odd, it would be dissimilar. You would have people living on the same street that have very different land scenarios, and it's a challenge to build and a challenge to sell, and frankly, a challenge to manage. If you were, however, to apply a larger dimension to this same zoning provision, instead of 100 feet, say 500 feet, the resulting layout would look similar to Exhibit B, which I also included with the application, and for which I also have copies for anyone who needs. This time, instead of a 13 and 2 split, you'd have 24 homes that look the same, feel the same, single-family lots with compliant frontage, setbacks, and lot size that arise out of the CR district. So you would essentially be having one parcel, one layout, and one set of rules. And the good news for all of us is one request for a variance instead of 4 or 5 or even more than 4 or 5. My kids would be bummed if I didn't say 6, 7. Though I have no idea what that means. As I said, why does the ordinance say 100 feet? I don't know. I think it has to say something. So 100 feet might be a rule of thumb that works well in some circumstances, but it just doesn't do us much good for this parcel. So as a result, we end up with some pretty good reasons for a variance. And as you know, the variance criteria are specific, so I'd like to go through each one for you. The variance is in the public interest because, well, just as a threshold matter, housing is in demand. Housing is allowed in both districts on this site, and the majority of the buildable area on the site is already located in the CR district that is closest to White Oak Road and expandable with the application of this provision, even at 100 feet. Similarly, the rear of the site buffers an adjacent wetland, which serves as a wildlife corridor, and we can avoid that area and the buffer completely with the 24-unit single-family plan. Without the variance, what are we looking at? We're probably looking at a dense multifamily housing project much closer to White Oak Road in the CR district, which of course allows for multifamily development. We don't want that. I don't think you want that. So we're getting creative to make provision for one set of rules to apply across the site. We think the variance is in the spirit of the ordinance because the ordinance already contains this provision to spread the less restrictive rules beyond the zoning boundary. We're really just customizing the distance to fit this size, to fit this site. You know the saying, one size fits most. Well, not today. The variance will do substantial justice in that, again, it would apply a single set of development rules to a large site to allow the creation of single-family housing. The alternative, I think, is to have 2 sets of rules resulting in a high-density program in the front of the site and an estate lot program in the rear of the site right up against those wetlands and buffers. The variance would not disrupt or diminish surrounding property values in that redevelopment is already occurring in the area on surrounding parcels. There are multiple applications for White Oak Road on tonight's agenda, and that's just an example. Also, the portion of the site that's within the CR district, as I mentioned, could be developed today without a variance for multifamily. If anything, the multifamily program might be more of a risk to surrounding values than what we're proposing in the form of a 24-unit single-family. Lastly, the strict terms of the ordinance create a hardship for this application and this application to this property in that it uses an arbitrary measurement to try and resolve differences between zoning districts. In this case, a more customized dimension, I think, would achieve the purposes behind the ordinance while allowing a much more orderly form of single-family development to move forward. The program, frankly, is a nice compromise between high density in the front, low density in the back, butting up against wetlands and buffers and wildlife areas, and trying to bring some much-needed housing to the community. You've already had a long night. I've tried to keep it brief. At the same time, we are here to answer your questions, and I'll stop there. I guess the last thing I would mention is I did have an opportunity to speak with city staff about this approach to the project. It's probably a little unusual, but nonetheless, I think we all agreed it was a creative way to address an interesting situation of a zoning district boundary bifurcating a property, and it does excuse us from needing multiple different variances. Thank you for listening.
The only question that I had for the staff is because when I read the description, it talked about the frontage of the lot has to be located, and I was told the frontage is in the CR district, so we can use those less restrictive dimensions and apply them to the rural. Because if it was the other way around, if it was RR, the frontage was in the RR, then this wouldn't apply. But you have told me that the frontage is in the CR district.
The frontage is in the CR district,
There you
but,
go.
yeah.
Okay, so to me, this is a perfect solution for what you need to do.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions, so I'll get out of your way.
Very good, Ari. Ma'am, would like to speak?
Yes, I would.
Come on up, please.
I'm in a butter to this, and I've just gone through a year of Dave Hendricks building his condos.
State your name, please.
Kim Haley,
Jen Haley?
Kim
Kim.
Haley, 147 Lake Street. So this is my house, and they will be building all along this side and all along behind me. Okay, so several sides. And I like the single-family homes better than multi-building things, is better. But I'm wondering what kind of buffer line they're going to leave between these plots and me. Like, is there going to be any tree line? Are these people's backyards backing up to my house? You know what I mean? Because if it's something like that, I'm gonna have to deal with 1.5 years of bulldozers and hammers and, you know what I mean? Like, on and on and on. And there seems to be something for everyone here. Laconia gets a bigger tax base, and he makes lots of money developing the land, and I don't get anything. So,
You could get 24 lovely new neighbors.
yeah, but you have no idea how peaceful it is up there. It's one of the reasons why
I understand.
I live there. And I just want to know if there's any space in between.
Buffer zone.
Yes, and if not, I want a very tall fence built
Uh-huh.
where I'm not looking into somebody's, bathroom. Because it's not great. And I don't know if it's gonna be Laconia sewer or water, or they're doing a big septic thing or, so.
I believe that parcel does have access to sewer and water.
I
so.
thought they were putting a new sewer line in.
Because a benefit to me would be being able to tap into that. Do you know what I mean? Agreeable to things that benefit you in somehow. But everybody comes up my driveway and comments, oh my God, it's like you're in the middle of things, but you don't feel like you're in the middle of things. Well, now I'll really be in the middle of things. But I want it to benefit me somehow. So, that's all I have to say.
Can you step up here for just a moment, please? I just want to see where your house is on this plot plan.
Oh, I came and looked at it.
Yeah, it's that.
Like, this is what they were stuck with, this is what they're proposing. Where is your home?
This is White Oaks Road right here. So I don't,
This is White Oaks.
okay. So
Are you this square?
I'm this square. Like, I'm right in the middle
How
of,
does your driveway, where does your driveway come
I have a
out?
throughway. This property,
I see.
I have a throughway.
So your house
I
is
don't
right
have a
here.
driveway, yeah.
And you have a driveway through the neighbors.
That's nice, too.
And there's another home here, I
Yeah.
assume.
So
And then,
she's thinking
do you see they're all around me?
I understand, yeah.
They're all around me.
Okay.
So you would have,
There's no benefit at all.
Thank you, Kim. Anybody else would like to speak about this proposal?
I guess I'm alone in the boat.
No, we're all with you.
I'm not quite sure you benefit from taxes.
The city needs housing. We don't approve housing to get tax money.
But if you do, you benefit.
We hope we do. With every development, there's always an increase of taxes, but then there's also an increase of need, police, fire, school. So whether we develop, benefit from it, but we do need housing. And,
But I've been there. You also have to consider the needs of the people that are there.
yes, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I've been there, you get accustomed, and there's gotta be something in it for the person that gets impacted.
Thank you, Kim. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Seeing that, Attorney Pollock? Oh, sir, you want to speak?
I'm sorry. I'm Suzanne Ingram, and this is Dean. We reside at 188 White Oaks Road. We love our road, and that's what we're here to speak about.
My concern is traffic. Increasing from, I guess, a number that they can build is 10, and they want to do 24. I'm not sure I have those numbers right. But if anyone has tried to pull off White Oaks Road and take a left down towards Shaw's, I mean, you better bring a granola back, because you're going to be there for a while. And my other concern is, in the wintertime, coming up the hill, and they only have one entrance and one egress into this development. You gotta get a running start, or you're not gonna make it up the hill. And I just think you're setting yourself up for some serious accidents here.
That home is right there in the middle of that hill.
You've also got the development, what do they call it, preserve or something on the other side, how many is that?
That has 5 buildings right now with 6 units in each building.
So there's 30 there, I mean, and these are in the middle of the hill, these aren't at the top of the hill or the
No.
bottom of the hill, these are in the middle of the hill, so.
I'm familiar with the
That hill can be treacherous in the winter.
I think there must be gold up in the White Oaks Road area, because
Everybody
everybody's
wants to live
attracted to
there.
Well,
it. so.
development is coming.
It's here, so.
We're not going to stop it.
But I think at some point, we need to address the traffic. It's, getting off the hill is ridiculous. Thank you.
That's it. That is a tight spot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Alicia Emery, and I'm at 181 White Oaks Road, and I agree with what Dean just said. But on top of that, I understand we need housing, but is this gonna be housing for the people that live here, or more high-end housing for everybody else? Because that unfortunately is not gonna help the people here, and we desperately need help for the people that are here.
I understand your thoughts.
And again, with the traffic and where that sits on the hill, it's gonna be tight and a hard spot in and out. And at some point, I think it needs to be addressed whether, I know that's commercial at that end, but the rest of the road goes to RR2, and we have all of these other developments of people wanting to do stuff. But at what point, you know, unless it's for affordable housing, at what point do we keep developing and taking every area away and not looking at traffic and not looking at any other consequence of just keep building? So that's all I
Thank you,
have
Ms.
to
Emery.
say.
Anybody else? With no more takers, I will close the public comment, and I'll ask Attorney Pollock to come back. The one neighbor did have a concern. There are like 3 houses that abut her backyard. I know that it's not the purview of the zoning board to request things, but I'm hoping that you could consider plantings or fencing to keep this lady satisfied.
Certainly, the board knows that the planning board is ahead for us. They've got rules that regulate buffers and screening and setbacks. We'll take all of that seriously as we work through your planning process. And if there's a way to accommodate those concerns, we'll take a look at it for sure.
Thank you, Attorney. Any other concerns that the neighbors gave?
They're all
Would like
good
to
comments. We
address?
respect them all. We'll take them one at a time as we get to the planning board, and we really thank you for listening tonight.
Thank you, sir. Okay, discussion amongst the board.
Yeah, I just think Laconia's in for some growing pains. You know, we are really growing, and we're growing at a fast speed, especially with whatever's gonna happen at the state school. And just a few years ago, Governor Lynch told me that someday Laconia's gonna be the new Portsmouth. And that's the kind of the direction we're going into. It's getting more expensive to live here. It's the lakes region. It's not the ocean, but it's the same type of people that are attracted to the water and want to live here.
As much as I hear the comments, and I am concerned about, you know, building just like they are and looking for affordable housing for Laconia, that is not what is in front of us. What is in front of us is to take
It's a nice project.
a piece of property that is in 2 different zones and get it into 1 zone. So it doesn't matter whether it's in the rural, you can have housing being built in the rural, or you can have housing built within the CR. This is just to give it, this piece of property, 1 category rather than 2. And so the way the request is just to do that. The language in the ordinance allows you to give it the same dimensions, because it is in the CR zone, you can give it those dimensions to the RR1 zone, and that's what they're asking, with an increase from 100 feet to what, 300 feet?
500.
I'm sorry, 500 feet. And there's no reason not to do that.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the decision before us is, do we let them build 15 houses or 24? And I think, you know, forcing them into the 15, we're forcing them to follow 2 different sets of rules for 1 property. And also, the 100 feet is a little arbitrary, and we don't really know what lot size they were thinking about when they made that ordinance. It is kind of a strange caveat to dictate 100 feet when we, you know, it doesn't apply equally to every lot size. And I think certainly a lot this size, I think 500 feet is totally reasonable to keep it all within 1 set of
Something that could be
rules.
addressed by our master plan committee.
True.
Well, there's always gonna be exceptions to that, and this is just another one of those, so, you know,
I like the project.
I'm in favor of this, just to the public. All of the issues that were brought up are managed at the planning board, so make sure you go to the planning board. I only have one thing. Right across the street for that new, the condominium, the White Oaks Preserve, is that what it's called? Right across the street. Well, I can't do it. They're not in here. They're in the RR2 and the RR. I was gonna ask for a little, to see if we could, in that zone in that zone that's closest, can we, actually, it's a question for you, can we put a buffer there along the road? Can we?
To say that they have to build off of the road?
Like on RR2, it's 75 feet. Is there anything?
I think
I took a picture of the latest map, and I'm looking at it.
I have it pulled up here, so I'm looking at it too.
Is there a rule or requirement for that zone?
So in the zone that they're in, no, RR2 does not begin until
Yep, just-
two parcels
Yep, I
up,
get
so
that.
yeah.
I've seen that there. But in the RR1, is there a requirement for a buffer?
No, there is no
Okay,
requirement in the
fine.
RR1.
Yeah, that's fine, all right. Yeah, so they just gotta go to planning board, so I'm fine with that. I'm kinda curious what the planning board will do about the steepness of the road right there. It is right in the middle of it, though. Kinda curious if they'll even let it by. Okay, yeah, I'm good.
So, I'll seek a motion.
I can make a motion that we approve application number ZB 2026-022, a variance on Article 235, Section 15C, parentheses 2, of the zoning ordinance to permit application of the CR district dimensional requirements for a distance of 500 feet from the district boundary where 100 is otherwise allowed, as specified on the application by Mr.
Attorney Pollock.
Attorney Pollock. Thank you. It wasn't Mr. Ostrom.
Thank you, Jane. We have a motion?
Second?
Thank you, Marcia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
It's five in the affirmative.
We'll
motion
take care of
carries.
you, Tim.
Good, I just what was the vote?
He'll
You
take
passed.
care- he'll take
Five?
care of
I
you.
didn't,
He will- no,
Five.
All
There were
good.
5 in a-
You're
Thank you.
good, Attorney Pollock.
Sure, I believe
I have wonderful neighbors.
Take care of the
He's
neighbors
one
in
of
the
them.
planning department.
Having a neighbor is really not a bad thing. I've got one.
You know, you're blessed.
We are.
That's 13.
Moving right along. Next up is 1048 Watson Road, seeking a variance to increase the height over the prescribed 35 feet. Hello.
Hello. I was hoping to get my computer set up to use the screens.
Yeah, if you
Can I
want to
just
plug in your.
unplug this?
Yeah, you can unplug the HDMI cable and plug it into your computer, that'll be fine.
While he's doing that, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Kevin Lacasse, I'm the developer on the project. There was a different developer that had gone through the process before for planning, and there was a couple variances that were granted at the time. And they ended up selling it, and we ended up purchasing it, so just wanted to make that introduction before he starts his presentation.
The construction going on, is that like with the old plan and? Because there's a lot of earth movement over there.
There sure is, yeah, he'll address that, and if he doesn't, I'll answer any questions.
Very good, thank you,
that
Mr.
kind of clarify.
Lacasse.
All right, I think I'm plugged in here. It's not on the screen.
Change the screen. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you. So I'm John Arnold. I'm an attorney at Warren Reno down in Concord, represent the applicant and Endicott Street Condos LLC. With me tonight, Kevin Lacasse, who just introduced himself. He's the owner. Stuart Anderson, project engineer. Jeremy Avery, as in the back, he's the broker who's in charge of going to be marketing and selling the units. You guys don't need to stand time if you don't want. You're welcome to, but so you don't get too tired out. All right, so the application involves 1048 Watson Road. I've got the GIS map up on the screen. On the map, it's shown as lots 5.1 and 5.2. tax map just hasn't been updated yet. Those two lots have been merged. It's one lot right now. It's a little under 4 acres. It's in the commercial resort zoning district. It abuts Fun Spot to the south, down here, High Octane Saloon to the north, up here. The project involves the construction of 52 townhome-style condominium units. And I'm going to pop up the site plan on the screen. You have it in your materials, but this is the site plan for the 52 units. Endicott Street, Route 3 is on the left, Hayes Road. It's right along the bottom. And back in April of '24, this board granted 2 variances for the project. It granted a density variance to allow the 15 units, and it granted a variance to reduce the green space on the property. Following the ZBA approvals, the planning board granted a site plan approval for this, also granted a condominium subdivision approval to make these units condominiums. That was just this past summer. As Kevin mentioned, he bought the property from the prior owner who did that permitting in September, just a couple of months ago. As part of that, following that purchase, the design team worked on putting together the final design drawings and submitting for building permit applications. And this goes to your question, Mr. Chair. As part of that process, it was discovered the building heights range from about 35 feet up to about 52 feet. And it was discovered as part of that final design process and submitting to the city for the building permits that those building heights were non-compliant. The design team was operating under the belief that the 60-foot height limit, building height limit, had applied in this district. And the reason for that is that the zoning ordinance in the CR district has 2 different building height limits. There's a 35-foot building height limit for residential buildings. There's a 60-foot building height limit for non-residential buildings. And without going too far afield, the design team was under the belief that the 60-foot height limitation applied because due to the number of units under the building code, this is not considered a residential, these are not considered residential buildings. They're under the International Building Code and not the Residential Building Code. After submitting the building permit applications, it was discovered that the city's interpretation of the zoning ordinance is that even though the buildings are not under the Residential Building Code, they are residential buildings for purposes of the zoning code. The 35-foot limitation applies, and therefore the building heights, which go up to 52 feet, are non-compliant. And I mentioned that context for a couple of reasons. First, to your question, Mr. Chair, there is site work. If you've driven by the site, there is site work that's going on, foundation work that's going on. And the reason for that is that after discovering this zoning issue in the building permit process, the city allowed Mr. Lacasse to begin construction this fall on the site work and on the foundation work because he's going to lose his window this season to do so. But with the understanding that if the board is not to grant a variance for the height, the plans will need to be revised to comply with the 35-foot height max. And that has various implications for the project that I'll get into in a moment, but I just want to explain that so you don't take the site work that's going on out there as an affront to this board's review or our hearing process tonight. We're fully respectful of that. And I guess the second reason for giving that context is just to explain why this height issue has come up at the 11th hour and wasn't addressed previously. We would have preferred, obviously, to have known about this earlier in the process and dealt with it as part of the initial permitting, rather than at this stage when construction is meant to get underway. So I'm going to pull up a rendering on the screen. This is a rendering of one of the 5 buildings that's proposed on the site. All the buildings basically look like this. They're different lengths. One of them is a duplex, but they look pretty much like this one. And you can see, looking at the rendering, that each unit has a garage on the ground level and then either 2 or 3 stories above that with living space. You can see that the units are relatively narrow. Each garage door is essentially one unit, and the unit goes up from there, either 2 or 3 stories. And the reason for that is that the site is relatively small, and the available footprint for each unit is limited. There's a mix of both 2 and 3 bedroom units that are proposed here. They range in size from about 1,300 square feet to 2,000 square feet, excluding the garages. The 3-bedroom units are the ones with living space up on the 3rd floor. You can see them towards the center of the building right here with the dormer coming out the side of the roof. As I mentioned, the heights of the buildings range from about 35 feet to a little over 52 feet. And the reason for that range is largely due to the grade on the site. So there is a little bit of slope on this site, and some of the buildings are built into the slope. Some of them sit on a relatively flat area. The actual height of the building measured from the floor slab to the peak of the roof is basically the same, at least for all the larger buildings. But the way the height is measured for zoning purposes, it's based on the averaged finished grade, and the actual building height varies a little bit from building to building for that reason. As I mentioned, in the CR district, there's a maximum of 35 feet for a building height on residential buildings, but non-residential buildings can be up to 60 feet tall. I want to pause just for a minute. I would like to summarize the variance criteria that's in our written application, but I realize that was a lot of background and context. So if you have any questions about the project itself or that background, I'd be happy to address them before I get into the criteria. Seeing none, I will keep going. As I go through the variance criteria, you're going to hear a couple of common themes and a couple of themes that I'd like you to keep in mind as I do. First, this project has been approved for 52 units. And to make these units large enough to be both functional and marketable, they naturally have to be taller because the site isn't big enough, there isn't enough room to grow the units horizontally. And then the second theme is that, as I mentioned, in the zoning district, there are 2 different height limitations, the 35 feet for residential, 60 feet for non-residential. So if these buildings were going to be operated as a hotel, for example, or any other form of commercial building, they'd be allowed to go up to 60 feet as a matter of right. So as for the criteria, under the first 2 criteria, I'm going to address them together because they overlap on the public interest and the spirit of the ordinance. As you know, the test is whether the variance would alter the essential character of the locality or whether it would threaten public safety, health, or welfare. On the character of the locality, a 60-foot building here is allowed by right if it's not residential. So the proposed height in and of itself isn't going to have a detrimental effect on the neighborhood. The height itself, as I said, could be allowed with a non-residential use. There won't be any risk to the public safety, health, or welfare. The fire department has equipment capable of servicing buildings of this height. There are taller buildings in the city of Laconia, so we don't anticipate any public safety or health issues. On the substantial justice criteria, this is the balancing test, whether a variance would harm the public more than it would benefit the applicant. And quite frankly, I don't believe that there's any public harm here. To the contrary, I think there's a public benefit here. As has been already discussed tonight, there's a strong demand for housing throughout the state, and particularly here in Laconia. And allowing a little extra building height means that more housing can be provided. If the project is held to a strict 35-foot maximum height, it means that the unit sizes are going to decrease, or the number of bedrooms are going to be reduced, or the number of units are going to be reduced, some combination of those 3 things. And in all cases, that means there will be less housing that is provided for the community. On property values, Mr. Avery, as I mentioned, he's a broker. He's here tonight. He can probably speak to this more articulately than I can. I would just like to say that this property is a vacant lot. It has been vacant for quite some time. There have been prior development proposals for it, one of which came forward with a storage type concept that was not well received by the city or the public, and the city urged the prior owner to pursue a residential development. And so that is what has been done here. It's an upscale residential development. It's going to greatly improve the area. As I mentioned, the property is adjacent to 2 other commercial uses, the High Octane and fun spot. Most critically, it's a property that's not near the waterfront. It's not in a particularly scenic area. There's no risk of a taller building blocking views or view shed to the lake. On the hardship criteria, the property is unique in a few respects. It's an undeveloped lot right on Route 3, making it a prime site for residential development. It's a relatively small lot. It's under 4 acres, and it's been approved for 52 units. And as I mentioned, the small footprint requires that the buildings be built taller in order to achieve functional and marketable unit sizes. The property is also unique in that it's near the town line and far from the lake. This means that, as I said, a little extra building height isn't likely to create any visual impediment or block any views to the lake. The property is gently sloped, and this causes the building heights to fluctuate by about 10 feet or so, just based on how the measurements are taken. And the property is adjacent to 2 commercial businesses. And although there is one residential property to the rear, that property is very well screened with existing dense forest. So as you know, under the hardship criteria, not only do you look at the unique characteristics of the property, but you have to look at the general public purpose of the ordinance and decide whether there's a substantial relationship between that purpose and its application here. And in general, there are 2 public purposes behind the building height restrictions. One is largely aesthetic. As I mentioned, tall buildings can block light, they can block air, they can block view sheds. And so that's generally a primary driver behind that restriction. The second is generally a public safety type concern. It's making sure that the municipality has sufficient firefighting equipment to access the upper floors and provide necessary public services for public safety. But here the thing that's really puzzling is that, as I said, the zoning district has 2 different height limits for buildings, whether they're residential or non-residential. And this is the only district in the city that makes that distinction. It's universal. Height limit applies in all the other zoning districts equally, whether it's a residential or a non-residential use. And so I spent a lot of time looking at the zoning ordinance, thinking about this and trying to determine what the public purpose is of making that distinction between the residential and non-residential buildings. And quite frankly, I couldn't come up with anything. I spoke to the city planner, and he didn't have any insight on it either. It's a bit of a mystery. The reality is that if you have a 60-foot building, it has the same impacts on view shed, on light access, on air circulation, whether inside that building is being used for a residential use or whether it's being used, as I said, for a hotel or something else. The impacts of the height are the same either way. From a public safety standpoint, on the second public purpose, the fire access, public safety issues aren't any different for a fire department trying to access a 50-foot tall hotel building or a 50-foot tall condominium building. So for these reasons, I really don't see any substantial relationship between any public purpose of this ordinance and its application to this property to require a condominium development to adhere to a 35-foot height as opposed to other uses that could build up to 60 feet. I do think what we're asking for is a reasonable request. A little extra height here allows larger residential units, it allows more bedrooms, it allows more units. All of these things have a greater impact on the housing shortage and housing demand in the area. And we do think this project will be a very good thing for the city. It's been through the zoning board once already, planning board twice. It's a nice upscale project that's been well designed and thought out, and it's going to bring good tax revenue and housing opportunities to the city. I guess the final thing I want to mention is that last year this board granted a nearly identical variance for a residential development on Weirs Boulevard. It was 1207 Weirs Boulevard back in April of '24. And I recognize that prior ZBA decisions don't have precedential value, or in no way bound by that decision that you made in that case, but I wanted to raise it just because it is very similar here to our request here. in that the applicant there was proposing a 55-foot tall residential building in the CR district. And the main difference that I see between that application and this application is that that property is down on Weirs Boulevard and is much closer to the lake in a much more developed part of town, and therefore had a much greater likelihood of impacting view shed or light and air circulation, having an impact on abutters than this project does. And I think that while it doesn't have precedential value, it does show that taller residential buildings can be built without negative public impact, and that a taller residential structure won't be out of character for the city. And also that there is real value in providing additional housing opportunities in a time of need. So that was the last point I wanted to make. I'm happy to answer any questions. We've got a team of folks here who can answer questions as well, and I believe that Mr. Avery wanted to speak briefly on the property values piece before you open it up for public comment.
I don't have any questions myself. Any board
I
members?
only have one. I'm reading on your application, this sentence here in number 3, substantial justice is done. The sentence says, there is strong public demand for housing, and allowing a slight increase in building height allows for more housing. I would like you to define for me the word slight.
Well, the difference in height here that we're asking for is between 35 feet max and up to 52 is the tallest building that we're allowing, or that we're asking for.
That's 18 feet.
Correct. Apologies if you felt the use of the word slight inaccurate. It was not intentional. The math
Well, I know,
speaks
but,
for
you know,
itself.
18 feet is not slight.
So, pairing along with that, so yes, it's a mean average for elevation, and then the math is done off of there. Are these on page 1? You have buildings 1 through 5. Are these measurements, height measurements, like from the garage slab or the garage apron up, or is it from that mean number?
It's from the mean number.
So just approximately, what would be the height of the 5 different building lines if you were to measure it from the garage apron?
From the floor slab to the
From
peak of the roof?
From the basement, the garage slab, to the peak of the roof? So here's what I'm getting at. Yes, it's a very steep piece of property, and if the way we compute an elevation, in this case, is kind of a little, it's kind of a little unfair, right? So the building back would have to be 60 feet tall in order to comply with the 35 feet. You know, is it reasonable to say, like, the 5 lines of the building from the mean average? Because this one, your picture that you had, this one, this is the one with the 4 floors on it.
Mhm.
What would be the height to the peak from the?
It's approximately 46 feet.
Okay, all right,
from
so we're operating under these numbers here, that this is what it's going to be from the garage slab going up. I was curious, when I first looked at this application, I said, oh, they're doing an ad, the mean elevation of the property, and now they're asking for a request to, does that make sense? The property goes up, you're asking for the request here because this building sits higher. That's what I thought that this application was all about, but indeed that is not the case. We are adding a 4th floor right across the board. Yes, no?
Not on every building.
No, understood, but in general. So you're asking for this elevation, which is greater than the 35? Yeah, okay.
Correct.
That's fine. I was just asking for
And I believe
clarification.
on one of the way the topography works on one of the sites, the mean height is actually below
I
the
understand that.
garage.
Yes.
Because whereas many are built into the hillside, this one happens to just the way it works.
Sure.
It's actually, the mean average is already like 3 feet or 4 feet below the garage slab, so it works both ways.
Okay.
Good evening. I appreciate your time. My name is Jeremy Avery. I'll be selling these homes, so I appreciate your consideration in this matter. And I'm not very good at speaking briefly, but I'll give it a shot. You've had a long evening already, and I'm not sure how articulate I'll be as well, but I'll give it a shot. I only want to make 2 points. The first one is, given the density, and we're not talking about the density here tonight, we're talking about the height, obviously. Given the density, the only homes we could build really are the townhomes. And in order to get them lower, we're really going to have an effect on their desirability and marketability. Because the way we do that is we're going to have lower ceilings, lower ceilings, flat roofs, and just smaller floor plans. And, that's something we would have to work with, and it would be less desirable, less marketable, and less service to the public. We are providing homes for people here, and it'll be less marketable, is a point I'm making. And the other one is the potential effects on the values surrounding this project. You have High Octane Saloon, which we heard about earlier tonight, and you have Fun Spot on the other side. Those properties will not be affected. The residential properties, which we're very respectful of, we make livings selling houses, so we're respectful of property values here for sure. They are buffered by trees, so I don't believe that the height of these units will have any effect on those properties' values at all. And across the street, you have a variety of different properties that will not be affected by that. So those are just the 2 points I want to make. They've already been made, and I appreciate the time. Any questions? Thank you.
Very good, Mr. Avery. So I guess we'll open the meeting to the public to see if there's anybody who would like to comment on this project. There must be somebody back there who wants to talk about it. I'll talk about it. Are you gonna? I'll close the public hearing. When this first came to us, it was gonna be 52 garages with a little efficiency apartment upstairs. That's the only way I passed without the green space and the density, and I lost sleep over passing that. And then it changed from 52 garages with a efficiency apartment to 52 condominiums towering. If you came with us to this application today, we would never approve 52 units. Like somebody on the planning board said last month, it's a lot of sausage and a small casing. I was expecting to get some laughter.
Okay. That was good. That was good.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You're too Italian.
That gets a laugh.
That being said, I don't want to make 52 ugly buildings with flat roofs maxed out as much as we can. Maybe the height has no issue and it's going to look better, but if you came to us with this proposal today, I would be vehemently against it.
You're talking about because you're on the planning board, is what you're saying. Just so the audience knows, Mike is on the planning board, and this came before him.
Like I say, we started out as, I said, oh, what a concept, 52 garages with a little efficiency apartment, that'd be great. They could rent out those efficiencies, give plenty of exposure, turning people over, using them. And now we're backed into a corner. We could have 52 nice-looking townhomes, or we could make you chop the tops off and have 52 ugly-looking townhomes. It's a tough one.
Question?
Yes.
Question, what other variances are applicable to this property that were passed recently?
I believe the 2 variants they received, one was for density and the other one was for green space.
Okay, perfect. And are those particular variances transferable to successive property owners?
Yes, they go with the property.
Okay, fair enough then, all right. So, it seems to me, and I'm talking to now we are put in place to define what is residential or non-residential. Now, those were your words out of the, or is it commercial and residential?
In the zoning ordinance, we define it as residential and non-residential.
So, I'm asking my fellow board people, what is residential and non-residential? Okay, so, my feeling about this is the height, I understand exactly what it is that they're looking for. And I'm not intrinsically opposed, as opposed to you, I'm not intrinsically opposed to this design right here. But, what is residential and non-residential? These are houses that people will live in. Is that commercial resort? Right?
No.
But it went before the planning board as a residential development, which is why they're sitting here before us.
Yeah.
Just for the height.
The last application we just reviewed was residential in a commercial resort zone. I think that's what most of our commercial resort zone is full of.
So the use would be a multifamily use under the zoning ordinance, which falls under a residential use.
Okay, that makes sense to me, okay.
My
So
question is why.
That's by right, that's by right.
Yes, multifamily is permitted by right there.
Okay, fair enough.
Why is there a difference in height between residential and non-residential buildings?
That was my next question.
Particularly when we
In
have
dis-
plenty of commercial space and we need
Yeah.
residential.
And I will say in discussions with Rob, the planner, we do not know why there's a difference between non-residential and residential. As they stated when they asked us, there's nothing spelled out in the master plan saying that, oh, yes, non-residential needs to be 60 feet here and 35 feet here. There's just no rhyme or reason from what
Okay.
we can find based off of historical documents.
I would assume it's a difference in construction materials, maybe a fire safety consideration, I don't know, but it seems strange.
Is multifamily considered non-residential?
No, multifamily is considered residential.
So I'm gonna go back to what I said. It seems to me that we are making a definition of what that means here by this decision, or at least a precedent in it anyway. Does that seem to make sense to you, Eric?
No, I think just because we grant or deny one height variance, I don't think that ties us to do it consistently. I mean, especially when this property has some other factors to it. I mean, it's right on Endicott Street, it's
And-
surrounded by commercial properties, it's,
The definition of residential development in the zoning ordinance is any construction, expansion, or addition of dwelling units.
So if you have let's say one of these were a hotel, I think we would intrinsically say that that is commercial. But because it is a house and most likely a condominium, I'm assuming that, so they would be individually owned.
Yeah, there'll be individual dwelling units there.
Right. And individually owned, not necessarily rented out. It's, well, either way, it doesn't matter.
So Eric, you're not thinking that you would be opening up Pandora's box here?
I guess I'm wondering what is the downside, what is the real impact of allowing this?
And that's a fair point.
Where are the children gonna play?
I mean, a lot of children live in
was gonna say-
20-story apartment buildings.
That's not
I mean,
ideal here, for sure.
right.
Yeah, I mean, and it's already, I'm just looking
And I
for the
think
height
that they were
variance.
referring to that down where the Rotary is, we approved.
Yeah, it was like a 6 or 7 story column.
Oh, yeah, which is pretty ugly.
Yeah, I'm not intrinsically opposed to this. I think that it's beautiful, and I think that the location is great. I'm surprised that the state gave them permission to enter Route 3 where they show it in the drawing, but again, that's not our purview. We're just looking at.
It comes off of the road, the side
No,
road.
it's not our job to look at that. You know, the state and planning board will deal with all that there.
I
So-
like the new design with the difference in heights and.
So I'm okay with this. You know, we're defining this as being non-residential, and if we say it's non-residential, then they get their 60 feet, and I'm okay with that.
No, this is residential housing that we're gonna allow to go up to.
Exactly.
52.3.
Well, it's non-residential housing we are going to allow.
Well.
You want to say something, sir?
Would you like me to clarify that point a
Go
little bit?
ahead,
Because
yeah.
it's a little confusing. The request tonight is going along with staff's interpretation under the zoning ordinance that this is residential, and that's why we're asking for a variance. We could have appealed the decision and said, no, call this non-residential, and then we're allowed to go to 60 by right, but we've gone down this path to say, it's residential, we're only allowed 35 feet, so we're asking to go up to 52.
Appreciate the
Okay.
clarification. Now, also, they're kind of in a tricky spot. If we deny it, they're,
Gonna build ugly houses.
well, not just that. Because of the lack of clarity from the city, it's, well, it can be both ways. They have responsibility for doing their homework as well. Lack of clarity from the city, they're kind of stuck in a place. If we say no, they got completely changed. They're ready to build now. They want to get it going on before winter. So I'm not necessarily pushing myself forward with that onus, but we are kind of cleaning up something that maybe the city did not make so clearly.
Well, I made the mess.
Oh, so it's your fault.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to say that I understand and appreciate your comments, and again, I just want to reiterate that my client just bought the property, he wasn't involved in the
I
initial
understand.
it was
The
not
other
an
guy
intent.
probably made bank on it.
It was not an intent to come in a piecemeal fashion or to feel like you don't have a choice here. I would say that the height of the building isn't gonna change where the kids play.
I understand.
Okay.
But we started out, the only reason I said, okay, put 52 in, because it was gonna be a little efficiency apartment above an RV storage garage.
Understood.
And I never would have said you could put 52 housing units in here. And now we're backed into a corner, you know,
I don't think we're back into a corner.
well, I don't want 52 ugly units. I'd rather have 52 attractive ones.
And the issue of 52 respectfully has been decided, and I understand that you felt like the 52 was presented, or you understood it to be a different project than what's here.
It's totally different.
But the 52 itself is a approval that has been granted, and so the question now is just, to your point, I think it's a little glib, but I think it's also accurate. The question is it gonna be 52 units that look like this rendering, are architecturally attractive, have functional and marketable space? Or are they gonna be 52 units that are lower with a flat roof and smaller living space and all that?
I feel backed into a corner.
I apologize for that, it's not our intent.
I understand, you know,
Well, all right, so we have that dynamic of that. Let's take a step back and just look. So from the road, what is the qualitative difference between what was before and what is now? We have an increase in elevation, maybe as much as 34.
18 feet.
34.
Or 16 feet,
Up
what was
to
it?
52, so a building is, the peak is 18 feet above. 18 feet is the distance across this room here, plus a little bit.
Well,
Okay.
how tall is the broken spoke?
So all I'm saying
Two
is,
stories, it's
Yeah.
10 feet per story, and you're
It's-
close to 20,
it's
so.
adding,
And they've got
it's
a big
adding another
fascia
story.
on it,
So-
So I'm just saying qualitatively, if we're to make this determination here, we're standing back and looking at it, what is the big difference? It fits, we agree that it fits really well where it is. It's a little bit bigger. Is that bad? Is it bad for the city? Is it bad for the resident? Is it bad for the neighbor? And from my seat, I'm looking at it and saying no.
I get concerned about precedent, and I understand where you're coming from, Eric, and you could make, but I know that there is a concern out there that it's supposed to be 35, that's what the ordinance says. 18 feet, to me, is a marketed, because
It is, and I think
It
the
is.
35 feet is something we really try to hold people to. It's like one of the cardinal rules, you know, it's,
well,
you stay within your height restriction, but
We've
in
made-
this
we've
particular
made
case, I
variances.
don't, I'm
18
wondering
feet
what,
to me
what is the impact of that 18 feet?
Yeah.
Like, who is harmed by that?
It's, to me, what's being harmed is the city of Laconia and its ordinances and how we adhere to them. And to me, that isn't, 18 feet is an unduly marketed degree, which conflicts with our ordinances. And for that reason, I will not support it.
I think visually, it's gonna look a lot better.
Oh, I agree, because I see.
But if
that
it was a
some-
hotel, it'd be fine, they wouldn't even be in here.
Exactly, but I'm concerned about our ordinances and the way they're written and supporting our ordinances.
Well, that's why they want a variance.
I know, but it has to be this says unmarketedly, and it is, 18 feet is unmarketably high.
Well,
We're not talking 2 feet, 4 feet, we're talking 18 feet. And that's, to me, goes back to the ordinance, so.
Yeah, and these are residentials with garages underneath, so that's gonna just automatically add to the height of the building.
And I think it's a very attractive, because boy, what I see up there in the Weirs is pretty ugly.
You talk about the Cumberland Farms
Yeah,
development?
that's just my personal opinion, I'm sure other
They're
people think
California
it's.
style.
No, this is very, very attractive, and I think would be an improvement. I'm just going by my supporting the ordinance
I'm
as it stands.
just disappointed that we're changed the entire project, what was originally approved.
Could I ask a question? In this diagram right here, which is building 1, which is building 5?
You can't ask. You closed it, and this is board discussion only.
So if I'm
And
reading
he
this.
can't open it up.
That's fine, Marshall. So if we're looking at this, the 2-unit building all the way at the bottom of the hill.
Mhm.
If that's building 1, that is the top, that is, it's not the tallest. That one is the one that is not 18 feet, but 14 feet tall.
Yeah.
The next one up is 11 feet tall.
Mhm.
The next one up is the 18 feet taller.
Yep.
The next one up is 8 feet taller. And the next one all the way at the top, within 6 inches, fits within the.
I
Okay,
understand
fair
that.
point.
I understand that.
Okay.
I think there's lots of good points. I'm just stuck on number 1.
And I would even make an argument that they could legally say that the elevation of the building from the average elevation of the property, maybe these would be very close to fitting within. Sorry, I said more.
But they're not.
Well, I don't want to have flat, ugly condos crammed in. I'd rather have these
I know.
nice peaks. So I'm asking somebody to make a motion
I'll
to
make a
approve.
I'd like to make a motion to approve application number ZB 2026-023, requesting a variance on Article 6, Section 235-37 of the zoning ordinance to permit building height up to 53 feet, where a maximum of 35 feet is otherwise allowed, and with the statement of facts as the,
Well, first we'll have a second.
pardon?
No, she's,
She's still making the motion.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'm
Jane.
not done.
Statements of facts.
Statement of
Okay.
facts as they have written.
Presented.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Thank you, Jane.
I'll second.
Thank you, Eric. Let's do some further discussion.
Discussion of the motion?
Yes.
Why? Yeah, why?
I want to express my disgust
You have.
in the change of the original plan.
How many times?
I would just remind the board, you do have one more application after this one as well, just so you know.
How many times? You've already heard the
We should have pushed those people ahead. We have a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor? I'll abstain. All
Oh,
against? You're against?
I'm against.
Okay, so we
3 in
have 3
favor.
in favor, 1 abstain, 1 against. Good luck, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night. Gerard Street, I'm so sorry. Where are you guys?
Richard, you abstained on that?
No, no, vote.
No,
Oh,
yep, the
he was
3 of
just
them
real
were
quick.
in favor, 1 abstention, 1
He was
opposed.
quick.
Yeah.
But,
No, he raises his hand.
we did.
He did a,
Oh, I thought for sure you would be in favor.
Mike abstains, yep.
he was almost like a
that.
royal wave, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize.
That's okay.
Miss Gerard Street,
That's me.
I'm sorry. I would have pushed you ahead of all these people.
That's okay. It was interesting.
Like you were hidden on the bottom.
I
of the
learned a
list.
lot.
You're a land use
She learned a
expert
lot.
now.
She learned never to come back.
How can we
Vote for the
help you?
audience, please.
I hope this is going to be quick and short and simple. My name is Shelley Daniels Marcoux, homeowner 18 Gerard Street. I had, Rob Turpin represented me the last time I was here. And I've changed from the plan. The big contention was the apartment on the garage. So we removed the apartment, and I'm now just seeking a variance for encroaching into the setbacks. So Did you want me to go through and read?
I'm not, could you
Yes.
explain to me, I'm not sure I understand, you took out the garage, so why
No,
are we
the garage.
encroaching?
Pardon?
Why are you encroaching into the setback? What is
So
it
the
you're building?
garage, the original reason we were looking to put in an apartment above the garage that we wanted to put on for the addition, so the parking was the issue. So you all had voted no because we were looking to get an exception on the parking situation. So went back to the drawing board and removed the apartment situation entirely. So just to putting on a garage only instead of the garage plus a second floor apartment.
Okay.
So it's just the garage that I wanted to put on, and where it encroached is the back right corner is encroaching into the setback. And that was all in the drawings that we sent in.
Yes.
So, it,
Yeah, this is what she had.
Right.
And this is what she's proposing.
Oh, okay.
And it's an odd shaped lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
this-
remember that.
and because it tapers the way it tapers, it was encroaching into the setback.
That's what she wants to put.
Yeah, that garage.
So the parking's the same, that wouldn't change now. Nothing actually, it's just the variance for the encroachment into the setbacks.
How close are we?
The closest point is 3 feet from the property line. And I would add that both neighbors on either side of my house are also encroached, and the whole neighborhood is. It's just, it's Laconia, it's the tradition of the
We're
history of,
familiar.
it is what it is. And I'm just looking for the same privilege of having, a little bit, just because my house severely needs siding, it needs windows, it needs my foundation, my driveway retaining wall is crumbling from the plowing, so I need to get that repaired because it's a safety issue for our parking situation, or it's going to become more of a safety issue as time goes. So there's multiple reasons with the addition, is to just get my house straightened out and get the side.
You got a DIY.
I do.
Good for you.
It sure is. It's been a lot of DIY.
Go ahead. I didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Shelley?
Shelley.
D-
Go ahead,
Daniels.
have a seat, and I'll ask if there's any residents, neighbors.
I wanted to add a couple things from the last meeting.
Oh, sure.
If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So there was a point brought up about my garage being too close to the sidewalk. My neighbor on the other side of me has a garage. It's the exact same setback from the sidewalk. And
I'm
he's-
familiar, yeah.
He's had trucks. It's never been an issue. Also, another thing that was brought up was snow. I have a professional snow removal plow situation. And with regards to the snow on the driveway, it'd be considerably less because there's no more driveway. It's gonna be all roof, it's gonna be my garage, and then the 2 parking in front of the garage. And so that would diminish it, and the roof line drops away from my neighbor's yard. It's dropping on mine in my backyard. And there's still ways to push the snow into my backyard on the side of the garage. So I was just trying to remember some of the points that were mentioned last time, which it was kind of not quite accurate. I wanted to clarify.
I just want to comment, I went down and looked at your neighbor's driveway.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, he had an SUV parked in
Yeah.
his driveway.
Yeah.
And he just barely
Yeah.
makes it before he's not overhanging onto the.
Well, he
onto the-
probably didn't pull up enough either.
Well, no, he was right up against his garage door, and
Yeah.
there just isn't,
Yeah.
if he had a truck, I'm sure
Yeah.
he would have been
Well,
overhanging
I
onto
could
the,
have
onto
no
the
problem,
sidewalk.
I could have no problem pushing back a foot if that would resolve that issue. I mean, I'm not
It would be
really,
nice to have your garage just a little bit further away from the sidewalk
yeah.
than his.
yeah,
because
that's
he-
a non-issue. I mean,
Okay, all right. I
yeah, a
just thought
foot
I'd
is
tell you,
not,
It's pretty
yeah.
close.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I recognize that because he has, his grandson's trucks too, and, if they're not pulled in tight, I know, but it's never really been an issue. you know, it just really hasn't.
No, but I remember it was brought up in our discussion.
It was,
last time,
a few
so
things were.
That's why I just wanted to.
And that's why I wanted
Yeah.
to touch on them
Right.
too, and,
Right.
so, yeah, I guess that was pretty much, yeah, I think that covered the most of it, so, you want me to have a seat? I will, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.
There were two.
Oh, goodness.
There were two.
Hello,
State your name, please, ma'am.
Gail Druin, 24 Gerard Street, applicant to the abutter. Okay, I did bring in something this morning that I would like read and put in the minutes. And other than basically what we went through last time we were here in April, I still have the same concerns.
Do you have a copy of it?
I do.
That's not in this packet here. Do you mind if I read that into the record? Okay.
Thank you.
So, no problem. My name is Gail Druin at 24 Gerard Street, Laconia, New Hampshire, and I'm the abutting owner to the right of Shelley Daniels Marcoux property at 18 Gerard Street. On April 21st, 2025, the zoning board denied the applicant's request for a special exception in accordance with 235-26 to allow for the increase in density from a 2-unit to 3-unit. Her other 3 variances were withdrawn at that time. Applicant is presently seeking a variance from Article 6, 235-35. Dimensional requirements for the construction of new addition, structure plans and dimensions are the same submitted in April. I have some questions and concerns regarding requested variance as well as parking, snow removal. Please see notes below. Is the garage in compliance with ordinance 235-50.1? Because there's no request for a variance. And then it goes into the city ordinance, which says driveways and access. Residential driveway shall be a minimum of 25 feet in length when being used to meet the maximum parking requirement where garages are constructed. Driveway length must be a minimum of 19 feet. The proposed addition has a garage with a 22 by 15-foot parking. The standard midsize SUV is approximately 6 feet wide without counting mirrors and 16 feet long. The length is an issue since 16 feet would put you on the sidewalk at a standard pickup truck 19 by 6.5, and you've totally blocked the sidewalk. Pedestrian walking down the sidewalk, the street only has one sidewalk, would have to enter the street in order to get by. Pedestrian safety would be impacted. For snow removal and storage, the sidewalk plow would not be able to get by the vehicles parked in the driveway that are overlapping onto the sidewalk. Since you can't put snow on the street or on your neighbor's property, it needs to be stored on the property. The only place to store the snow is in the 8-foot space along the right side of the garage, which abuts the butter's property here. It's unlikely that area will accommodate the volume of snow from seasonal accumulation as well from garage roof snow deposit in the parking area. The spring snow melt runoff will most likely find its way over to the abutter's property, creating an erosion problem. This could create a hardship on her as the abutter. Is the area adequate for snow storage? The roof of the proposed addition in the rear of the building will be sloped towards the property line along with the valley in the roof, and with only 3 feet between the proposed addition and the property line, it's likely the runoff will make its way again over to the abutter's property and cause additional yard erosion. Gutters, if installed, will stop most of the runoff in the beginning, but they will eventually fill with debris. Gutter cleaning will be an issue since the property boundary is only 3 feet from the house, and they'll not be able to put up the ladder to clean them. Safe ladder placement requires 1 foot out for every 3 feet up. What is the height of new construction? At just 0.14 acres, the subject property is by far the smallest lot on Gerard Street. It is fully non-conforming with all current city dimensional zoning regulations, and if this addition is approved, it would make the building even bigger and non-conforming on 3 of its 4 sides. This is in conflict with the purpose/spirit of the ordinance for setbacks and adds the density issue. Concerned, this is a violation of Article 6, Section 235-35F1. Did not request for a variance between buildings in addition to the 10-foot side setback required. All new buildings or additions to existing buildings shall be erected in such a location that would, to the greatest extent possible, provide a 20-foot separation from any other existing building located on an adjacent lot. It's hard to get an exact measurement without the building there. However, the abutter's house is 16 feet from the boundary line. Variance criteria impact. This is not a minimal setback request since the back corner of the addition is just 3 feet from the property boundary. The side of the addition will be from 19 to 24 feet away from the abutter's home. If the abutter's math is correct, 30+% of this addition will be built in the setback area. The proposed location and configuration of the new addition will negatively affect the abutter. Performing home maintenance on the new addition, such as cleaning the gutters, et cetera, will most likely entail trespassing on the abutter's property and will also hinder sunlight. The abutter does not believe the neighborhood will see this addition as conforming to the existing structures on the street, since most have ample space in between them. The abutter is opposed to the proposal of adding a new addition to 18 Gerard Street and is asking the board to deny the request. Any reference to measurements are approximate based on provided plans and physical observations of the property. And the abutter would like to express that she does not want anyone, tenants, vehicles, construction workers, construction equipment, or materials on her property.
I also have a second objection. Does that one need to be read too?
Would you like me to read this one into the record?
Can't we have an easy?
All right, this one is from Bill Greeley of 10 Gerard Street in Laconia. Hi, Scott. I will most likely not make the meeting on this matter, so I'm expressing my opinion with an objection vote of no per the Marcoux request for variance setback change and the planned addition in general. It's his opinion it would overcrowd an already compressed dead-end street. He assumes he was notified strictly as an abutter because there is no room between Mrs. Marcoux's home and his garage to give any leeway. Since this plan was turned down months ago, I see no reason to move forward with it as nothing has changed. No, thank you.
Why can't we have an easy one?
Do you want to close the public
Is the
hearing?
public comment still open?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's still open, right?
Yes. Does anybody like to speak on the matter? I already asked that, didn't I?
Yeah. Do you want the applicant to come back up and address the concerns that were raised, or?
Good idea. Thank you.
Okay.
Shelley,
Yes.
come on up.
Do you close the public hearing?
She can talk during the public hearing because she's part of the public.
Can't you make a driveway and put your garage behind your house?
I wish. I don't understand the complexity of that letter and the depth of the not wanting me to beautify my home and making it a better place, and it's really not that big of a deal. I know it's opinion, that's mine, but it's just to beautify my home and put in a garage so I could store stuff, and I want to put an office behind the garage and just, you know, I'm just still 34 years in this neighborhood, never had a problem, and I get met with this. I don't understand it, I really don't.
It's unfortunate that the neighbors don't want you to have a garage on the
I know,
property
and
line.
Bill's garage, his entire north side of his garage is 2 feet from my property line, which is, and her house is in the front setback by, you know, a couple feet. So the whole thing is just so bizarre to me. I don't know. I just want to make my house prettier. It needs work bad. It's a 130-something-year-old home, and that vinyl looks it. I mean, the addition has nothing to do with the vinyl. It's just I want to do it all at one time, and one loan and be done with it. So, I mean, and again, I can push the garage back. You know, whatever helps. The roof line does not go the way she's stating. It goes. It's now going to the front of the
Front and
yeah,
back, yes.
yeah. And the
Yeah.
gutters, they have closed gutter systems. I mean, the whole thing's kind of ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't even understand it.
I would appreciate if you moved the garage back a hair.
Yeah, you said, yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't
I'm
mind.
saying it is kind of close, so.
I mean, I can, Rob Turpin did a great job with the plans, and I've talked about doing some things different anyway with that, so if that's, you know, all it took, it's not an issue. I have it actually a little bit more depth so that I could have like a shelf to work on in the garage. So I could cut that back a little bit, so there's room to play with.
Any other questions for Shelley?
Oh, Thank you.
He's thinking.
I'm perplexed on this one, Shelley. Go ahead and have a seat.
Okay.
What can we do to help her?
So the entire neighborhood is pre-existing non-conforming.
You've closed the public hearing just
Yes, thank you.
9:20.
We'll close the public hearing, unless anybody else wants to make comments.
I have a comment.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Finally, we get a comment. Are you Gail?
Yes,
Okay,
I have a question, actually.
go ahead, ma'am.
If you grant her request, will this impact the abutter, me or whoever owns the house, on restrictions of adding on to the house?
No.
No?
No. No, 'cause it's a tight neighborhood right there, you know, the houses
Right.
are right on the road, they're up
But
against
if I
each other.
wanted to put on,
An
because
addition on that side of the house.
Right.
It would not impact it, no.
not with the distance of 20 feet between,
I think it says where reasonably possible, and, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can build up to your setbacks, unless you come get a variance from the board, I mean, it's reasonable that you could build up to,
but I could be refused a variance also.
If you came back and requested one to build in your setbacks, that would be within your right to apply for one, but
But that's where I'm going, you know, with that. And for the roof draining, it's on the back of the house, not the front. The runoff in the back roof. I think I read that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. I'll close the public hearing once and for all.
9:22.
Should we be looking at a variance for the driveway length? Like, I guess that's where I'm hung up on, is that there's not an included variance on the driveway length, but the plans submitted clearly show a non-compliant driveway.
And that was one of our problems
You're-
last time.
If you granted the variance you're granting is for within the setbacks. So she would still have to comply with everything else. It doesn't mean she gets the opportunity to just,
So
It still needs to be permitted, right?
Planning would pick up on that.
Yeah.
You know,
Just wondering if she wants to come back for another variance for that, or submit all this at once, or how does that, just pointing it out. Sorry, go ahead.
Pre-existing non-conforming neighborhood, she's right, she has no room to be able to do anything. And clearly, the neighbor doesn't want her on her property, which is fine. And looking at the elevations, all of the water, whether that garage is there or not, whether the driveway is, it's a paved driveway right now, runoff from the house, all of it kind of gravitates onto 24's property anyway. I don't think that the garage will not matter for that at all. I'm kind of in favor, I'm in favor of this, but I'm also on your page with you because the parking's way too short. So it's funny that the neighbor on the other side is opposed to this when his garage is doing the exact same thing that she is asking for. I kind of find that ironic to a degree.
I agree.
So I'm a favor of approving it here, but, you know, she would, if planning says what we think planning will say, she will be back before us for a permit for the driveway.
Right.
A variance.
We should
variance for the
ask
driveway.
Mike, is that what would happen?
Do you
it won't go to before planning board. It'll be reviewed at building permit by the planning department. So she would still have to comply with the rest of the ordinance, and at that point, if she's within it, then she'd have to come back for another variance. But this would,
If you have a drive-in garage, do you have to have a driveway?
yes, 19 feet worth according to the ordinance. But at the end of the day, too, this allows her to extend within her setbacks up to a maximum. I mean, she can always move the building back if
She
she
could
so
comply,
chooses, correct?
inform,
Yeah.
at construction, or if not, she could come back to us for another variance.
Exactly.
Can I clarify something?
No.
No, I'm sorry, the meeting's closed.
The driveway's misunderstood, the parking. I think that, it's already there.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'm waiting,
Richard,
Waiting.
you want to make a motion?
anxiously. Richard, come on.
I can do one. You want me to do it?
Go for it, Jane, you got it.
I would like to make a motion that we approve application ZB 2026-024 where they're requesting a variance from Article 6, Section 35, to permit the construction of a new addition within the side setback requirement of the RG zone. The nearest point to the side lot line will be 3 feet. And statement of facts as the way the statement has,
Presented.
Has been presented in the,
Applicant
I
has
can
presented.
never think of the right word. I'm
The
sorry.
way the applicant presented.
As presented by the applicant.
Yeah.
perfect.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Lovely.
Were you in favor?
No,
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
All right. One abstention.
Chicken that I am. You have it, Shelley. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We
And
wish
you've
you
got that
well.
1 foot pushback garage.
What other business do we have tonight?
These are great.
The iPads?
Instead of killing
I know,
all
I
these
love using
trees, I mean,
iPads
it's
too.
nice.
Do we want to discuss that, Hayes Road condominium, anyone?
No, no, I think
No.
we've exhausted that
You
one.
you understand my opinion?
Yes.
We do, because you've told us.
I want to thank you all for your work tonight. Marcia especially for diligently looking up all
But we were blessed with the attendance of the mayor.
the regulations. And good night.
Have a good night.
Charlie's here.
Charlie's here?
Yeah.
Charlie's been here all night.
Adjourn the meeting.
Yes, please.
Thank you all for
I'll second.
attending.
All in favor?
And Grayson, your first time filling in, you did a great job. Thank you.
So
Do
you're
good on those minutes.
adjourning it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
What do you
Charlie,
think?
how'd we do?